the boys.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The lads.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The dudes.
Prepare yourself for BOYSCAST.
The bros.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The homies.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The dudes.
Experience the BOYSCAST.
The BOYSCAST.
We are here, and you might not know this, but you are one of our most requested guests.
Very highly requested.
Joey B Toonz.
Yes, sir.
I'm honored. Don't know why, but I'm honored.
You know, and this, I don't mean this to sound like a not compliment.
Yeah.
But you are like a mysterious guy. So it does a little bit. I'm like, I know you got a big YouTube channel. I know you have a big social media, and I always find you funny. But there is a part of me that I was like, you kind of, it's almost like you're mysterious. You're like, where does this guy live? He's in his corner of the internet.
Lives in the woods.
A lot of people are requesting you.
Yeah, I don't want to let anyone. I don't want crazy people showing up to my house. You know what I mean? I lie. Nobody
Tell
knows
us your
where I'm from.
address.
No,
Where do you live?
No, I'm not even real. I'm a hologram. No, dude, I gotta say, man, this Skank Fest though, dude, it's really refreshing to be at a convention that doesn't have furries walking around. I just came back from
Your
3
mortal
days.
enemies.
Dude, I thought somebody I saw 2 walking around with leashes around their necks. So I was at a booth for 3 days, like doing autographs, selling my cartoons and stuff. And the guy that booked me, this guy Rick, really awesome dude. He's like, dude, you keep making fun of these furries, they're gonna attack you.
Yeah,
like I seen him coming
they're gonna
around
bite
the booth.
you.
I was just waiting for one to just flip all my shit out, like the whole table upside down. Dude, I have like a spray bottle with like Raid and battery acid just in case
For the
it gets
furries,
fucking
just in
close.
case they notice you.
Say it again.
Just in case they notice you. They
Yeah,
go,
well,
"Oh,
I
that's
don't
that guy."
know. Like a couple get really close. I don't know if they know who I am. I got to imagine like that's a small community where the word gets out. Like this guy's talking shit about you.
It's mortal enemy.
But dude, I've had him on. I had a furry on my show. Like I did a full interview with them, like asking like why are you doing
like, what is this?
Like he wanted to remain anonymous though. He was from like East Europe and he wanted to remain anonymous. I'm like, but you already are anonymous in the furry outfit. But like he wants to be anonymous to the furries because
he's got his furry thing blurred out.
yeah. I had to do like a screen
The voice
Yeah, it's
thing?
on YouTube. Just look interview with a furry.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That has been one of the main things you've been hitting the furries.
I guess. I mean, because I'm doing these conventions.
Dude, they're
everyone's,
hackers,
like,
too.
warning me about it, so I keep fucking poking
I don't know if you've
at
seen
them.
the furries. They have like a hacking community, and they've been
Do they?
Well, they're all
Buddy.
like autistic nerds and stuff. A lot of
Some of them are, but some are just pervs.
Oh, you know what?
I mean,
What's the ratio, you
obviously.
think?
Well, there's the furries, and then there was a furry, like a Christian furry hacker group.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were basically like operating like anonymous.
They like
doing-
shut down like some utility or something and then like blackmailed
Really?
them for or ransom them.
yeah,
to,
see, I got to investigate more. I got to take breaks, though, before I dive into this stuff. You know what I mean? It's like I can't consume too much of this stuff. The number one
bleach
question
bath.
I get from people is like, how do you... Like, dude, I can't watch your videos too much. Like, I got on follow and take breaks. I'm like, dude, imagine editing these videos together.
just
This
watch-
is really bad for
Yeah,
my
they don't see
mental
like
health.
the content that you leave out.
Yeah, no,
you
like,
you have to watch
Your
hours of
algorithm
this
must be
shit.
fucked.
Oh, it's screwed up. I did a video about my algorithm like years ago. Like the shit that gets recommended to me, you wouldn't believe it. There was like a dominatrix like on a treadmill and like a girl wearing a leather suit like with a rooster thing on her and like spinning around on her house, fucking doing cock-a-doodle-doo in the morning. Like you wouldn't believe the shit. I can't even show this shit on YouTube.
and everyone just tags you and
They
everything.
tag me.
too.
Yeah, I'm ruined. I'm mentally destroyed. Like people ask me, like, what do you really do? And like, all right, if you think about it like this, when you go on YouTube, like most real YouTubers, like they're pumping shit out like every day.
Yeah.
Right. I can't do that. Like it's
Dude,
like,
you pop up like a groundhog with
Do
the
I?
banger.
Yeah.
You just pop up out of
Yeah.
nowhere with 1 million views, then you disappear
Yeah,
again.
because I disappear for a while. And there's like a mystique to
But
it.
you're doing like research.
You know what happens? No, you see some new lizard man, and you're like, you're needed. Like a bat call goes out.
Yeah, that's my life. Yeah. Like I see that, I'm like, up, back to work. You know what I mean? Like what is
You're like chopping wood.
dude,
and
I gotta say the fact
Yeah,
get a notification.
just the fact that I'm anything shows that there's like something wrong with society. Like the fact that I'm like this is my job. Like what would I talk about 30 years ago?
Dude, what,
Really?
you think that's crazy? Think about them. You go, if you were the OG, you know, like Tan Mom, we always talk about like, she is broke.
Yeah.
If Tan Mom was now, you're like, Tan Mom has
She'd be here. She'd be at Skank Fest right now.
That's true.
Did she have a trillion followers right now?
I thought
Tan
it was
Mom?
named after, but I don't know.
That right now is the best time in the world to be a freak looking into the camera yelling stuff.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'd never been
They're
better.
taking over, dude. I actually when I was in, I think it was in Toronto, I was doing stand up in Lizard Man, the original Lizard Man, because now they're like shaving off noses, you know, the full skeletons. But the original Lizard Man,
yeah.
His main thing was it was kind of like an old school freak show, and he would do the hooks in his back, and he would hang from the hooks. But it's kind of like one of my favorite things because it was, a show with 150 people, maybe even a little less. And he had to be like during the day, he's like a normal guy.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, nice to meet you. I was bringing him up, telling me what to talk about on his Lizard Man show. And then they couldn't find their bucket of hooks. So him and the other people that were touring with him had to have like a logistical conversations about like, well, the hooks are there. Is that the motel? Like, just watching like the full Lizard Man crew trying to find his like lizard gear, and they're having like a fiasco. And
I always wonder where these people go. Like, I want to see them like at the bank, like cashing a check. Like, what do what do they look like? Are they just normal? Like, hey, how you doing? The weather's pretty good, Like, I can't imagine them ever having like small talk with anybody.
Like just like the grocery store, IKEA.
No, they're just always like hung to their like ceiling when the cameras.
Yeah, they
are
live
off
an
or
alternative
something.
lifestyle.
Like in a cocoon, just waiting. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that kind of alternative lifestyle doesn't involve banking and grocery shopping.
No,
there was a crossover to like metal before, but now it's. I mean, I've kind of said if you were walking around the street, like we're in Vegas right now, it's a freak show, obviously.
Yeah.
And if you're walking around and you see a guy with no arms and his face sawed off, yelling and screaming, you're looking.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, but that is the algorithm. If you're walking around and you see normal guy, oh, what's going on here? And then the algorithm is like, you love that.
Yeah,
You're like, I just looked. Who wouldn't?
Yeah. You're like, I can't resist a freak show.
It's crazy how it is like today is like New York in the 90s. Because if you went to Manhattan in like the early 90s, like all that shit was walking around, but it started to like feed over like throughout the country, and it's like
that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
They were relegated to like city center freak show areas.
Yeah, but you know what I think happened, because obviously I think a lot about this shit. So like I feel like it's like, so where do a lot of people go, like, were these people always in existence before? I think they were always just in their house, but with like social media, they all found each other
for sure,
and then they just got really comfortable with going outside.
Once you find the Reddit,
it's like, guys, don't get too comfortable.
I mean, some of these are like guys are like fucking go become super famous on the internet.
Yeah, well,
like they just post some dumb shit that they're doing.
Well, look at the Hawk Tua girl
or whatever. Yeah,
she has a podcast.
But is that the peak? Has a podcast? That is the number 3 podcast in the world.
She's competing with you guys.
Competing,
just random wiping the floor with us.
Yeah.
We're getting washed. She's competing with Rogan. We're getting washed by Hawk Tua.
Our top 2 guests right now that we'd love to have are her and Donald Trump. Like,
you wish you could be on Hawk Tua, dude.
Dude, do you guys ever wonder why the asteroid keeps missing us? do you ever wonder why though? Because like there's constant asteroids like flying around Earth that they say.
Yeah.
And they also say but I have a theory about this. There's some, like, if you read about this, some scientists believe that there's like bacteria from other planets like stuck on the meteors that fly by. I got to imagine there's like 2 amoebas like sitting on top of a meteor right now, like coming down to Earth, and they just see that they're coming to Earth, and they look at each other like, we're not going here, guys, and they just like lean over, and it just diverts. Like, that's happening all day.
Just push,
the asteroid doesn't even want to end up here.
Nah. Yeah.
You go, who's their queen right now? Hawk Tua. How did she come to power? You go,
I know. Well, the aliens are definitely watching us like it's a reality show. Yeah. Like, there's no way they're coming down. They're like, these people are nuts, but we don't want to wipe them out. Like, this is entertainment.
We're not going to wipe out our favorite show.
Yeah, it's like wiping your favorite show. Like, why would you do
the
that?
opposite. They see some of your shit and they're like, oh, I guess some other aliens already got to this place.
Well, I think they're gonna bring me up. They're gonna come down in my yard, like, and I'd be like, dude, you're so right, man. Like, you come hang with us for a little bit. Yeah, I'm begging them. They're probably watching right now. Yeah, they know that I know. I'm cool.
Also, if you were a traditional, you're going to be like, let's say, fire breathing freak show, you kind of needed a skill.
Yeah.
So now you don't really need the skill to go along with it. Like all of like OG freak show guys, it was like, yeah, I look weird, but also I'm like really good at fire.
Yeah, I have a skill.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's usually another component other than like, what's your deal? You're like, just kind of cut the nose off. That's mainly
yeah.
So it's kind of and then on top of that, you were right now. I mean, you were saying that I think it's probably true that they find the Reddit thread and then there's a community. You're like, well, now I'm normal, right? But then, you know, in your community, you're normal. And obviously people always want to be the most in the community because that's how you get the pussy,
exactly.
right? Like you're not going to be, if you're in the, you know, cutting your face off lizard community and you're like the 10th most lizard guy there.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like a chump, right?
Yeah, it's like all the people getting face tattoos now who are just like, yeah, most of you are not going to make it in art or whatever, like as a musician, and you're just gonna be stuck with like all these crazy face tattoos.
It probably explains why none of these kids are picking guitars up anymore. You notice like there's not a lot of music, like they're not really into instruments. Yeah, they all want to be YouTubers and influencers and just like stuff. It's like they're just killing the music.
Why have to get good at something?
Yeah, but that's too hard.
Yeah, it's a lot of
work.
They
got to put work and time into that.
Hard,
they don't want to do that.
No.
They want a quick fix, man.
Hey, you just go to a tattoo parlor, just be like, do up my face, and then just let everything take care of itself.
Yeah. Well, I think that's true too. You go, because you're like, you know how, you know, if you're a musician, you're trying out all your songs, whatever, like, you know what I mean? You're like, maybe I'm this, you know, you start, maybe someone's doing sketches or comment, like then for them, it's just like, what if I paint my face? Then you go, I'm actually depressed. You just say a few things like that and that clicks and you're like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, why am I sitting here for 9 years trying to
just throw
know
your
about something?
Out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be a history guy. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'll be. My nose was history guy.
I wonder when this is gonna like feed over into other countries. Like it already is a little bit, but like we are like the mecca of that idiocracy for sure.
Just so wealthy and affluent that we have.
And it's like I'm the only one documenting this.
Yeah,
like I feel like I'm a true idiocracy historian.
You must see like tons of these people though, that like at these Comicon things though, right?
Oh, dude.
Like you must be just like,
well, dude, when I first got
like ground zero for it.
When I first got there, I put all my artwork down, and this dude just like came up to he's looking at another booth, and his just belly is just like hanging over all my artwork with a big sweat stain. Like I took a picture of it, and I'm like, how do you leave the house like this? How does nobody even tell you, like, dude, you might want to tuck your gunt in today. You know what I mean? You see a lot of that, and I'm like, the only other people who have their bellies hanging out under their shirt are like mentally challenged people, you know? And it's like I'm not saying in a derogatory way, but it's like there's got to be something mentally off if like your belly's hanging out under your shirt, or your pants are hanging down below your ass, and you look in the mirror and you go, yep, I look good today. Sure, and I'm going to go to Walmart, or I'm going to go to the bank.
I mean, he probably wears the same thing every day, like that. He just has an outfit and he goes, this is my best fitting outfit.
I don't think he thinks at all, really. I don't think there's much going on up there.
But that is when you see a really fat guy like that, you're just like, monetize this by doing mukbangs. What are you doing?
Exactly. Like you're wasting your time like digging holes or whatever you're doing for like minimum wage.
Oh yeah, you must love those, just like the 600-pound people who just show their food all day.
They're everywhere.
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
Like that's such a weird genre.
There's a lot of nice people though. I got to say, like the majority are nice, but like
they're not bad people or anything. It's just such a weird genre.
But it is weird.
The mukbangs are saying they're not bad people.
Not even like I don't. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying like it's such a weird thing to just be like, I'm just gonna like eat my bad American diet, and then a million people are like,
I don't know why they call them mukbangers. I just call them slobs.
Yeah, slobs. Like nobody at the fucking
professional slobs.
Like nobody at these Vegas
category on YouTube, just slobs.
Yeah, like
slob videos.
Like nobody who's like sitting at a Vegas buffet right now is like, I'm doing a mukbang. They're like, I'm just having lunch.
I know. It's like, why go to work the next day? Just prop the camera up. You would think it would just be all YouTubers just at the buffet, just with cameras on every table.
Surprisingly, I saw one
competing with
one YouTuber yesterday actually on Fremont doing like streeter stuff.
Oh god,
surprised there aren't more. To be honest, I wonder if they get.
Dude, if you were a girl right now, I'm sure that like every girl, if you asked Drunk on Vegas, like in their mind, they're like, "This is my ticket."
Yeah,
they, just be like, like just every girl talking about what they do to a dick. Actually, you know what? Can we do that again?
It's like a real fucking career path, dude. We saw last night at 2:30 in the morning when we were leaving Skankfest. There was like these people playing music, and legitimately it was a kid singing, and he must have been
that was wild.
8.
Really?
At 2:30 in the morning.
I believe it. Well, last time I was here, I was downtown, and I posted this on my podcast. There was 2 young kids, maybe 7 and 9, with their dad, just killing it on the drums on Fremont Street.
Yeah.
And what I love to do, man, is like I like to show the contrast of like the people that are really talented versus the people who are not, with the massive followings.
Yeah.
So I love to compare. Like I love to show somebody just like like twerking on a car with like a million, and then just cut right to like somebody with
classical
like
guitar
and tag the hell out of them, and then just blow up their accounts. I don't see a lot of people doing that.
No.
But that's that's where I try to like have a positive spin, at least at the end of my videos, because if it's just all like just bombarding you, it's like now I'm contributing to everyone's mental illness.
Right,
you know what I mean? There has to be a moral to the end of the
there's something weird when you see like a really, what was that? I can't remember that, like this guy, he's like the best violinist in the world or whatever, and he went to like either like Grand Central Station, but he was like dressed like a bum, and he was like playing, but he's like literally like the #1 violinist in the world, and he was playing and everybody was just like ignoring him.
That's so depressing
because he was just like dressed like a bum. And then some people started to be like, is this, I can't remember his name, but people were like, is this the guy? Like some people started noticing, and then like, but forever people were just walking by like whatever. Just people just like the freak show though. They want you like playing it bad. Like they want you just like Corey Feldman style, like just brutalizing this violin.
It's an ironic era for sure.
Oh god, dude, Dave, you know Dave Landau.
Of course,
he went to a Corey Feldman concert and sat through the whole thing. Like he's the only person I know that has actually watched him do this live, and it's like
Jay went,
really?
Because he's opening for Limp Bizkit, so yeah.
But the $1 million question, like, is he self-aware? Like, is this on purpose?
I was just talking about this with somebody. I don't know. Like, I assumed he was zero self-aware, but then he was on a podcast recently talking about that, like, you know, that viral guitar solo, and he's just like, yeah, it's the worst solo in the world. He's like, I was playing it. It was like done through so many like effects, so it like looks weird, but he's like, it is the worst guitar solo in the world.
But do you think he said that because people started mocking it and he's trying to like lean into it?
He would be like, yeah, I fucking killed it. But he is now being like, no, it is the worst guitar solo in the world. Like, which is a weird level of self-awareness I didn't think he possessed.
What do you think is the timeline of freaks on the internet? Like, who was the OGs? Because there was Dr. Phil had people on, obviously Bad Barbie, whatever it was, Bad Bobby. Bad Baby, is it Baby pronounced? So that if you look at like a timeline of like original freak shows, and then people being like, all right, we can't do that anymore. Kind of. Then there was a pretty good era. Then they started maybe, you know, there was like a bum fights in there.
The bum fights, I remember that. Dude, I think before even the bum fights, the furries were the mystery of the
Furries
internet.
were kind of the original mystery.
They would like pop up on like art sites. You'd see like
they probably were on like some of those like Morton Downey Jr.
Maybe. The first I ever seen them is when I was doing animation and cartooning, and there would be like, there's a site called DeviantArt. And have you guys ever hear of that? It's like, it was kind of almost like a Facebook for just art where you can just upload like whatever you want. And I remember just seeing these
Tumblr for weirdos.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is Tumblr for weirdos.
Which is Tumblr, yeah. And I would see these like these cartoons drawn of these like fox animals like kissing and hugging. I'm like, this is some weird shit, and I would just ignore it, you know. But like then I started seeing the videos. But I'm talking about like I saw that shit like at the beginning of the internet, which makes me sound really old, like fucking 99 or something like that. Right. So they were around like way before that, and they stood the test of time.
Have you ever considered like getting a furry costume and trying to infiltrate them?
No, I don't. No, I'm terrified of them. I got trapped in an elevator with one of them in Orlando. And again, it's like I don't know if they know who I am, but they make like squeaky sounds.
No, that's not true.
No, yes, they do.
What do you mean?
Yes, they do. They make. Well, I can't do it, but
what
they have
like
a sound that they do. Yes, it's almost like a little like a mouse noise that they make. You can confirm this. You've heard this before. You even know? Are you one of them?
We might be finding out some stuff about John Glover.
You're not. How do you know this? Because I don't know this, and I study this. Okay. You sure you're not a furry? Are you? Okay,
you're not a furry.
I can't be in this.
I mean,
room
I'll put on a costume for some furry snatch. Probably.
You're not wearing a wire, are you?
Yeah.
I always think it's got to be like a lot of a lot of chicks that are like, you know, kind of like Japanese style weirdos that are into it, and then guys that are like, all right.
I think it's like,
or is it sexual deviance that sort of.
I thought a lot about this. Obviously, I've studied this, and I think it's like in everywhere you go, in every club, there's freaks. Okay, I think there's pervs in every group, wherever you go. Every office building has some weird shit going on behind closed doors at the parties and all that. But I think it's mostly really socially awkward people who want to, you know, they're not comfortable socially, so it's like their avatar. Like they live, because I'll tell you this, it's like they're known to go to these Comicons, and I notice I'm like, but you never see any representation of the furries at this thing. Like you could dress up like Princess Leia or like Mario, and it's like there's probably like the creator of Mario's voice there signing autographs. But like when you go there like as a furry, like there's no furry comic book. There's no one.
Like,
no, it's like they're just there.
They haven't really crossed over to the mainstream.
No, but they're not just wearing them there. They're like going to like the convenience store in these outfits.
So
Like,
they would be
it's
wearing
who they are.
So that would be like a furry. He would wear the Princess Leia on top of his furry costume.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's kind of like I think they're just going places where they feel that like okay, other people are dressing up, so it's like okay, I won't be judged.
Right.
But they're not really like
they're
playing
not like
a
that's
character.
not
Like
the
this is
scene
who
they're-
they are.
Yeah, like they're not getting autographs. They're just walking around.
No, they're just walking around. Like when they leave,
But they don't.
there-
They're not going to draw any eyes there.
No, and they're not taking their costumes off when they leave either. That's what I'm saying. It's like they will.
What
go
percentage
out-
of you guys that are furries you think goes back to like his job as a teacher and no one knows, not even his wife?
I don't know. I think some of
That
them
might be hard to hide from the wife. Just
She finds the tail.
Yeah,
And
giant like fur everywhere and fucking. That must be.
Well, you drive it in a safety deposit box. You drive over to your safety deposit box, get the costume out, then you dust off your car, take it to the cleaners. I'm sure it's a whole procedure, but there's got to be some people that.
I bet there's some
I know.
mascots who fucking hate getting confused for furries. They're like, no, I'm not fucking gay ass furry. I'm the Bulls mascot.
I feel like even talking about this will get the video taken down because I've had a
What?
No, I've had a furry video
Why is
taken
furry
down
shit,
because they're like a protected species.
That's
They're
not true.
protected.
Endangered species.
That's not true,
Well,
is it?
dude, all right. So, fact, on Facebook recently, maybe 2 weeks ago, I had posted a video of a furry on the beach. Okay, and I titled it "What species is this?" And they took it down and said that this was harassment and bullying of a protected people or a protected
weasel
class.
that?
Protected class, but they're probably saying it from a, like LGBT.
I don't know. Maybe they just think they're an endangered
go all-
species or something.
all
I don't
furries
know.
are gay.
Oh, so they weaseled their way into being part of the acronym?
I think so. I think it's
Yeah.
starting now.
Yeah,
but
I
they
think
definitely
they're
target me
big
because I'm always
crossover.
covering this. Dude, they wouldn't give me a YouTube gold plaque. I just had 1 million subscribers. They won't give me the plaque for shit like this. Yeah,
Really?
I actually got a rejection.
What's the biggest thing that it's mostly furry shit? What else?
No. I think it's like when people are like twerking, if I cover that kind of stuff, but everything that I do is censored. Like I don't have anything uncensored, and even when I curse, I usually bleep it out. So it's like they just
trying to
don't
play
like-
the game.
They don't like what I say. Like I think
The
that
content. They just don't like what you're covering.
You have to support the video because I get the videos people send me from YouTube. So like when they take it down, I'm like, here's 1,000 channels with that same clip on
Yeah.
there. But because my voice isn't over it, going like, what's wrong with these people?
Or maybe there's some kind of flag on your channel.
Yeah, but like, dude, I don't know many people with 1 million subscribers who don't have the gold plaque. I mean, the rejection letter, I framed that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that is
I mean,
the
like,
gold
who
plaque.
has it? That's a rarer piece of
What is it?
memorabilia.
What's the rejection letter? Like,
It just says your content doesn't comply with the community guidelines. And I'm like, what a community that is. You got
but
furries and
don't they
twerkers
kick
and all
you
like
off if that's the case.
you would think.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have grounds to do that. I mean, they obviously do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, they do whatever they
I
want.
can't believe I'm still on there,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for the day. I'm just seeing how long I could go. You know,
Yeah,
without
that's
them pulling the plug on it. Because they
fucking
will.
smart.
They
Yeah.
will. But what they don't realize is like, that just helps me though. Because it's like I have a common enemy. It's almost
Sure.
kind of like Howard Stern back in the day going against the FCC. Like YouTube is the FCC kind of for like YouTubers.
Right.
And it's like, didn't they watch Private Parts? Like, didn't they watch all that? Where it's like, you're just helping me.
They do,
gain an
but they see
audience.
themselves as Howard Stern at the time. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's pretty. I feel like people are able to like revise it pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that they're just not like self-aware, that they think by like, I mean, you could even make an argument that mindset is what got Trump elected, by just constantly like
Yeah, for
trashing him. Like I remember,
I'm saying that when he did his interview recently, like when they did the debate recently, the fact that the moderators were against him, like in my mind, kind of helped.
yeah, it always helps. Yeah.
Because also it's just when if you're kind of like salty and a dick to someone,
Yeah.
it helps a lot. Like even as if you're like a comic on stage and you're like an angry comic guy,
Yeah,
sometimes that might be off-putting. But if someone in the audience won't stop talking, and now all of a
Yeah.
sudden it like,
yeah, you're like a hero.
yeah, it just makes so much more sense. You know?
Yeah.
So there's a bit of, the adversity justifies being like mean, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, I get shut down on every platform. It's like at some point I'm just going to go door to door and do my comedy. You know what I mean? Just
Showing him a picture,
Yeah.
you're like, can you believe this fucking freak right here?
yeah,
On
just
a
do my
soapbox,
show.
like,
just
just
bring my
in a
couch and
park.
sit there. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
man.
so honestly, that's pretty interesting perspective that furries are like the centerpiece of the whole thing. But you think like centerpiece of in sense that they were probably the first ones that have like these huge YouTube, like, you know, channels and Reddit groups and
Yeah.
Tumblrs and the biggest community.
I think so.
And that's
What's the
sort of
biggest
split off
meetup they
into
have, do you
The
know?
biggest what?
The biggest meetup they have, like biggest furry event.
I don't
Probably
know.
Here.
I don't know that
Probably in
much.
Vegas.
I don't know. I try to stay away from those. But yeah, I'm not sure. Do they have furry conventions?
They must.
I'm not
I
an
think they-
expert
oh,
on
actually,
it.
no, they
Johnny?
do. I covered a video on the furry convention. Yeah, there was like one at the Hilton somewhere. I did a whole video on it, and it's funny because like they'll have a parade throughout the hotel, and it's like you have like the random like mom like just checking in to
Yeah,
the
they're
hotel,
there for, like, their
just
kids'
trying to, like, get to her room, and it's like she's got to cut through the furry
They're like there
parade.
for their kids' like hockey tournament at the hotel, and there's like a fucking furry
Yeah, it's like I gotta.
funny.
Well, I'm not staying here. Yeah, I want a refund.
Anthrocon in Pittsburgh
Anthro-
is considered the world's largest.
Anthrocon in Pittsburgh.
17,000 people in 2020.
Whoa!
Wow. Again,
That coat
America.
check must be wild.
Yeah, yeah. That's where they're making the money. You know. Well, you got a big one.
Yeah,
I'll
$50
charge
to
you.
check your head.
Yeah.
I feel like another probably like notch in where you would say this would be maybe a turning point where things, you know, if you look at the graph and the parts where it starts to go more exponential,
Yeah.
was the guy who did all the surgery to be Japanese and now he's like a Israel conservative
Ollie
commentator.
London?
Oh, or you took the
Yeah,
Korean dude.
Ollie London. Yeah, he tried to be a
White dude
K-pop.
doing surgery to be a Korean. I feel like that was a
Now he's
moment.
just like a based Republican guy.
Yeah.
Just based Republican gay guy now. And he's
You know
just-
what I wonder,
he's
like-
they fucked me over.
You see that too a lot where like they lean in so hard on this one thing and then there's some kind of awakening, but it's a small percentage of people that actually reform themselves from like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like for example, there was a video I covered about a girl that was taking pictures for her OnlyFans at her like old high school, like on the bleachers, like during school hours. She's just taking photos for OnlyFans, and like a family just comes up to her like, "You gotta stop," you know, and she's like, "I don't appreciate that. I have a lot of followers on Instagram, so you don't wanna mess with me." She
Yeah.
literally
Oh, really?
said,
Yeah,
"You
yeah.
don't want to mess with me. I have a lot of Instagram followers."
I'll ruin your
that
life.
sentence has never been said before, like in history. Like,
Oh, man.
so I did a video on her, and it got like 2 million views, and I didn't see anybody cover this. Shortly after that video, she posted a video. She turned to God and all this stuff, and like she's saying like, I shouldn't.
It's the life
You
hack.
shouldn't do this and stuff. I really regret this. And I was in my head, I'm like, I wonder if she saw my video and it had any impact on her. And I ended up going to her Instagram page, and I was blocked. So she is aware
yeah,
of
she is,
me.
yeah, she knows you.
Yeah, but in a way, it's like maybe that tough love actually serves a
like,
purpose.
sure.
You know what I mean? And that's the case I always try to make. It's like, I'm doing a comedy roast. This is comedy.
Yeah.
It's a character. It's an
Yeah.
extension of my personality. But like, there's also like, I grew up in New York where it was like, that's how we talk. That's how we treated each other. If we were doing something weird, it was like a sign of camaraderie amongst
Dude, yeah,
friends.
buddy.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And it's
for
like, it
sure.
keeps you kind of grounded. And it's like, that doesn't seem to apply to the rest of the nation. You know what I mean? So it's like, they're just mad at me. And I'm like, I'm helping
And
you.
they're getting so much positive reinforcement.
I know.
Because they go post the shit online and it like goes viral, and you're like, you
Yeah.
know, for smearing shit on your face, and then,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then like eating fucking a bowl of
Yeah.
baked beans, and you go, yeah, I should keep doing this.
Yeah,
Why-
so you
like-
can make a
The one guy right now, he's like, I got fat, then I got skinny, then I got fat again.
yeah, you can make a case that these social media platforms are enabling the behavior.
Well, I think a lot of people. I mean, Jonathan Haidt, we actually had him on our podcast, and he talks like a whole bunch about that, where you know, depression, suicide goes up a crazy amount.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to have you know the meetings in what is it called when they go to Congress and they
like the congressional testimony stuff or whatever.
yeah they kind of the politicians come in and yell at the guy who owns a social media
Yeah,
platform,
yeah.
but they're doing a lot of those about saying that you know kids got in the anorexia.
Yeah.
Algorithm.
There's that one. You ever cover that anorexic chick? There must be many.
Oh, you know,
But there's this one anorexic chick I see on my Instagram feed, and she's like looks like out like she's an Auschwitz.
There was one that went to our
know-
university.
Yeah.
I
Remember
know
that?
exactly who you're talking about, and I've teetered on like, do I cover this? Because some stuff is so dark.
Yeah,
where
it
it's
is
like
re-
I again going back to like comedy first,
Yeah.
right? It's like. It's so disturbingly
But it's the
sad
same- it's like
that
the-
it's like I can find a really dark joke about it.
Yeah.
But it's just like I think she's honestly on her way out. Like if you're living
like,
like
it's
that,
You don't want to make light of it.
I mean, I could if I really want to be lean into it. I easily could, but that's just such a cheap. It's
I know,
an easy
but it's
thing.
like it's the other side of the coin of like the fucking 600-pound person who's just like won't stop eating.
Yeah,
right. It's just like
true.
it's just the other on the other end of the
True.
spectrum of that.
I love
it's so
those.
weird.
I love those people during the pandemic, like the 600-pound guy that would be like in the little scooter at the grocery store, like wearing a mask, but shaming you for not wearing it as he's filling his cart with the formula for heart disease.
Yeah.
Like dude, I just want to kick him. Just
Yeah, there was
down
one
the
TikToker
steps.
guy who would just like eat all these crazy foods and then just died. He was like 30.
So this is the perfect episode for us to tell you about Ground News. This is an app and a website that gathers related articles from across the world into one place, but they give you context about each source's political leanings, their reporting practices, reliability, and their ownership. Now, I've been using this for the podcast forever, and one of the biggest things, you'll hear a story and you kind of are like, is this like a real thing, or is this kind of just like, you know,
fake news?
Is it fake news, or is it like a propaganda? You go, you know what? Let me look at a site that's. I'm sure there's a lot of times you kind of see something and you're like, well, let me hear what the other side's saying.
course.
About what is because
Is this real?
Yeah, yeah. And if you go, so you can look, it'll tell you the leanings of the thing. It'll also tell you what percentage of each side of the political spectrum
It's covering it.
is covering it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's pretty fair, and it gives all the places a ratings. It gives the articles a ratings, and it's actually very fair. So it helps you actually have a better understanding of the world. And I'm sure a lot of people have been hearing. You might just be in a situation where you're like, I heard something, and let me go. I want to tell this to someone, and you're like, you know what? Let me just fucking find out exactly
for
what I'm talking
Last
about
thing
here.
you want to do is be telling someone, "Hey, did you hear this?" And they go, "Yeah, that's not
Yeah,
true."
you're the guy yelling
Feel
at a party about
feel like
something.
an idiot.
Yeah, so I just find it's like super helpful in my normal life, and also, you know, I've been using it for years for what we do. So you can look at the meter, then you'll have here like coverage details, total news sources, leaning left, leaning right, and center, last updated, bias distribution. So it's a small monthly fee, and this is a very helpful tool. They have a blind spot feed, news stories that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum, and it just helps you have a more grounded perspective on everything. So access different viewpoints, not just across the political spectrum, but around the world. See discrepancies in how certain topics are covered. Practice critical thinking. Find common ground between perspectives. Practice empathy and understanding. Share good information. So go to groundnews.com/boyscast. Give it a try. If you sign up through our link, you're going to get 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use to get unlimited access to all features. I think Ground News is doing really cool stuff right now. It's an important website. So go to groundnews.com/boyscast to see through media narratives. Subscribe through our link, 40% off, unlimited access to Ground News this month.
What about that one dude that what the heck is his name? He's a YouTuber. Avocado.
Nikocado, yeah.
That's what I was saying. That's
Oh,
what I
is that
was
who
saying.
you're talking
No,
about?
he's the guy who got
I blanked
fat,
out.
got
I
skinny.
blanked out. Yeah. So he was like recording himself. He had like I don't know, like 100 videos in the bank, but he was already losing
Well, I think he
weight
came
or
out
something.
again recently, being like, "I tricked you again. I'm fat again." Like, I think,
Which that makes more sense.
yeah, he's kind of
probably.
doing a thing where I mean, I'm sure his version of it is like, I'm playing these suckers, you know, and getting press. And
You made me get fat, so now I'm gonna fuck with you guys.
dude, it's obviously once you get the money involved, it's a different ball game, you know?
Yeah.
Like that is somewhat of the, like, even, you know, if you, the guys, it's a little different, but if you're a girl that's, you know, have some weird thing wrong with you, or you're, you know, develop some following and be a freak, it's like the obvious pipeline is like, want to see me naked.
Yeah. It's crazy. You would think there would be like managers for people like, or they do have managers, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's, we know someone that works at one of those companies. He's like a comic.
Really?
Where they just like they're the guys who you're talking to.
That's
when
you got to
text
do a
them.
video about those guys. That's their
Wow.
job is they just tell guys they want to suck them off all day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like he does dick ratings as the girl.
Oh my God.
Like his job is like he just looks at dicks all day and tells them how nice they are.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they goes home to his wife and kids.
Yeah, man, that's a fucking. That is an honest day's work if I've ever seen one.
I don't understand how our country.
Would you rather do a garbage man or a dick rating?
I don't know how is our country not taken over by now? Like it's like this is a perfect
we're too prosperous,
time
man.
to just infiltrate and destroy it. Oh man.
There's money to be made in dick ratings, and the OnlyFans thing. There's a case to be made that it's fraud, right?
Yeah.
So legitimately, if you're like, I paid a chick to fucking rate my dick, and then this bozo,
Yeah.
is,
Judge
you know,
Joe Brown, you're like, that's your case? He goes, Your Honor, I'd like a refund. I
What is-
was under the impression I was paying this woman to rate my penis.
But that is currently, those cases are being tried.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there's a big class action lawsuit, and that's the main one about, I think it's OnlyFans maybe, but, and then, you know, I don't know if this is their case, but saying that like, you know, these are co-cores. We can't, ladies and gentlemen, like you bring her up and you go, do you want to make this woman work 8 hours a day? We can't. This is a job for an Indian man.
Yeah, you sue for pain and suffering. You're
Yeah.
like, she said I was a 6 and my dick rating was a 6 and that negatively affected me.
We're taking jobs away from
thought I had
Americans.
an 8.
Yeah, where I grew up, that used to be an American doing a dick rating.
Send them overseas.
Jesus.
This is the globalism at work right here.
They are actually sending them overseas, though.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
what's happening.
Really?
I mean, well, I think this guy is probably like, you know, has 5 people working for him. But yes, there is a lot of
for
those
sure.
agencies.
Philippines,
that's what they
like
do.
where all the call centers are, they're like, yeah, they're doing dick ratings in the Philippines.
Wow.
That's the dream, man. You start out in a hut, you get an iPhone. Your mom's like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "I'm doing business."
Yeah, somewhere there's some guy just pouring all this money into an unsuccessful vagina rating company. He goes, nobody wants one.
There's so many opportunities now. Like all these poor countries, it's like just send them phones, man, and the internet.
Oh, they got 'em.
And just
They got 'em,
Well,
man.
they got to start like fucking humping telephone poles or doing whatever, and just you know, like what it be? Start mukbanging.
Yeah,
Well, we have to
yeah.
send them food first.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly. Yeah, I
maybe
think that's like-
they can't be
The
mukbangers
thing is, a
in
lot of these
Africa, I guess.
countries, obesity is like so like just looked down upon. You know, like
Yeah.
they're like in Asia and stuff. They're not really like fat people. Like, dude, this
Yeah, you
like
don't see
you walk
that.
around here where we're at right now.
Oh.
like I mean, you probably saw it, but there's the Heart Attack Grill. Have you ever seen that video?
Is that where they all are?
Well, no. There's a place called the Heart Attack Grill.
I
There's
did.
a
I walked
video
past it.
online. If you watch it, and all these people go, because if you weigh yours, there's a scale out front.
Yeah.
And if you're
Dang,
over
loves this
350 pounds,
Oh
you
my
get to
God.
eat for
Oh,
free.
yeah, I see.
And there's a video where all these people are like, wait, and this dude, like, it's maybe the saddest thing because this guy like waddles over there, gets on, he's like 380, and he's so pleased with himself.
He's happy.
He gets to eat for free.
Oh, right.
So he's like so happy, and you're like, man, that's so dark.
Only America, man. That is so dark.
I thought
Yeah.
so. I was talking about this in a joke, saying that America's the fattest country, and I was kind of talking about how, you know, they don't have eating competitions in, you know, Yemen or whatever, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but if you're looking into it, that's not true.
Oh, they did.
America's not the no.
it's like
I mean, that might be true that they have, you know, some.
I was all ears. I might have to cover that.
It's possible
you
they
know?
have some.
No, it's
you know,
one of the
eating competition,
Polynesian
but yes,
countries.
America is not the fattest country.
Okay.
But it is
it's
one
not.
of the fattest countries, but it is not the fattest country. I don't even know if it's top 5. It's
Really?
what you
The
said.
Polynesians.
Yes,
They're all
correct.
fat.
How could you? How could that be possible?
It's guys
they're
that
like-
become like linebackers in the NFL.
Yeah, it's all those guys who are like, no, they're like a different type of person.
I mean,
like, they're
have you
huge.
been-
just with the faces that are just, you know, like widest faces.
Yeah. The Polynesians are like, they're built like their women are like big.
Yeah, like the Samoans are pretty.
Samoans,
right?
What's that?
Islanders.
Yeah, like the Islanders.
Islanders, yeah.
Tonga,
Yeah, they're all.
Cook Islands.
Yeah, they're all huge. Yeah. But but that's like essentially a singular like type of person, and but I imagine as like a.
Well, I'm sure this has maybe the highest of like fat people that like you shouldn't be fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the highest level of ego. You don't even have a fat face. Like
Yeah,
that's when you see a guy that's, you know, 300 pounds and is a normal face. You go,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is 100%
Yeah.
on you.
There was a guy that came up to me at the Comicon who apologized to me for being fat because I must have made like a fat joke or something, and he's like a fan.
That's kinda sad, actually.
Yeah, no, but he was cool. He's just like, because he wanted to buy a T-shirt. He's like, I had triple X. So, you know, but I'm working on it. I'm like, dude, that's okay.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Then I was like giving him tips. I'm like, well, I try to walk 10,000 steps,
Yeah.
and he's like, I really appreciate it. You know, like you can have this conversation with these
It's like,
people.
can I get those steps in my rascal scooter? Does that count? Dude, we went to the Dallas or the Texas State Fair a few years ago.
Yeah.
There was like a giant like area of rascal scooters that you could rent. But and there's like most of the people who were using them were like, you don't need this.
Oh, you see that a lot.
Like a lot where you're like, I don't like, you know, there you obviously see something, you're like, yeah, you probably old or whatever, and like, they're just people recreationally just taking these out. They're just like, I don't want to walk.
I thought that at the airport that could be the movement. Limp in there and ask for escort.
Yeah, but they're not even
after you've been drinking
they're
a
not
little too
even
much
like
the night
limping
before.
and like pretending I'm hurt. They're just like, yo, I don't want to walk around.
Well, there's an opening now for the Olympics for like rascal racing because like, you know, they could replace it with the
That's not
break
true,
dance.
is it?
No, I'm saying like, well, I mean, they're throwing break dancing in there. I mean,
what internet is this guy on?
I was picturing Fred Flintstone in it.
Yeah, manual rascals.
Yeah, and what they did the break dance, and so they canceled that.
Yeah.
Right? But wasn't there something even more? I mean, break dancing's cool, but there was something else that they added. I can't remember what it was that was even more ridiculous. But I can't remember. So I'm like, if they're gonna go down that road, it's like you might as well just add rascal racing or something.
Sure. One point down the line.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it was.
There was
I didn't really watch the
something-
Olympics this year.
No, I just watched Papa Smurf come out of the thing like that. Like, I'm good. Yeah. No,
What do you think of the BBLs? Do you see a lot of those?
What's that?
The
Brazilian butt lifts.
I mean, it's the final stage of the. See, I didn't. I never
chick
minded
body
the big
model.
lips. The big lips, I don't mind.
Oh,
The full face of. You know, when you really like pump the face full of stuff, where you look exactly the same, no matter what age you are, no matter like you all look. You can't really tell their age, but you look a little alien-y, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you look like a frozen cat.
It's a very specific look that I don't love that look, but like I don't mind the fake lips. The fake ass doesn't really do much for me. I mean, maybe I'm just not into hip hop enough.
A lot of them at the strip club. Here.
Yeah.
A lot of chicks have
Actually,
them here.
they've gotten better at those because I remember when they first started getting the
More of a
fake
penguin
butts.
situation
No,
back
it was
then?
like a box, it was square.
No, there were some girls who like you could put rest a drink on their ass. Like it was like
I remember in Las Vegas a bachelor party years and years ago, and I'm like, is that girl like? Is there like a package in her back? Is she's delivering something? You know? And it was literally like a square.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, how do you look at that and you're like, I'm gonna go in public. That would ruin my life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And she's like parading it around.
There's
like,
gay guys who get them now too.
Really?
Yeah. I've seen gay guys who have BBLs.
That's nuts.
That's
Yeah. They just like get a little junk added to the trunk, you know?
Gay guy BBL's hilarious.
It's so crazy too because you go to the gym and you see like mostly chicks who just all they do is work out on their ass and like they build a huge ass.
yeah, like white girls didn't have those. Kind
Yeah,
of
you're like
asses
you
in the
can
80s.
legitimately like if you just do only glute exercises, like, you can make a huge ass.
I was saying, as a dude, you shouldn't be doing any exercises with your legs.
Yeah,
open.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Any exercise that involves like squats is okay because you can, you know what I
squats
mean?
are the manliest
But anytime
ones.
you have a thing on either side,
the
and
adductor machine where you're just like,
if you walk in, you catch your buddy on that one.
yeah, you're just like, oh, two more.
It is funny how women will be upset with this. Is that I think a lot of women. It's funny how they will do these things because they do think that men like them, and here's where they're gonna get really mad. But you can't say that butt thing wasn't influenced by like hip hop videos and people.
Oh, for sure.
Who denies
over
that?
Well, it's Kim Kardashian.
Right,
It's like she's just
right.
like everything's just downstream of her. And the best part
Chicken
is,
and egg.
Yeah, but the best part is then she goes and she gets rid of this stuff because she's like trying to be a trendsetter. So then she's like, oh no, like the new trend is like you get rid of all your breast implants and all this stuff.
Well, then someone needs mashed potatoes because I got an ass full of them right now.
Yeah, but then people are like, yeah, I don't have that kind of budget where I can just fucking every time Kim Kardashian decides she's getting rid of her BBL, I have to go get rid of mine. Like,
But why do they always say that they're doing it for themselves?
Yeah.
because I don't completely buy that.
Lying.
Yeah, that word. Yeah, it's funny, but I do wonder, like, where did the fake lips come from in the face? Like, where did all that start? Like, is there a mailing list amongst them? Because, like, every time I talk to guys, like, if I'm, like, in a close circle with guys, like, nobody's into that.
No.
Like, who's
Some
actually into
guys are
that?
into it.
Are
Well, if you
they,
watch-
though? Like, I literally don't know any guy that has seen somebody with, like, pumped up
Oh,
lips
the
and
super-
face
yeah,
and asked
yeah.
them, like, yo. Like,
I think
just,
that,
like,
okay,
why?
there's two parts to it. I would say do you remember back in the day, there used to be a certain guy that would have like, you know, crazy overly tan, bleach blonde hair,
Right.
big fake tits, right?
Yeah.
And you would kind of be like, it would almost look like you're like pretty, I guess, kind of hot for someone's aunt, but you're like, it just looks trashy as fuck. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't want to be my girl, but you're like, I get why this guy that thinks he's like, going through a midlife crisis, wearing the leather jacket, he's in his 50s. I get why he thinks that people are looking at him being like pretty sick.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like having a corvette, like in their mind.
Yeah.
There's sort
Right.
of
I get that.
I think this is that now. That's
Okay.
the.
And I get like a 60 or 70-year-old woman doing this stuff because you're like, yeah, probably it's not much worse or whatever, and they might maybe look better. But then somehow it's like 25-year-olds started doing
I know.
crazy lip filler, and you're like, this was never meant for 25-year-olds. This started with like old people.
I just wonder where it's going to go. I mean, like they're starting to pop. Like a lot of these girls,
It's gotta be
starting to
maxing out.
explode. Like their asses are exploding.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're stitching them back up, and they're like, I mean, like this is they're popping.
I mean, they're still like
Fuck girls so hard, her ass
fairly-
explodes.
It's fairly like experimental phase too. Like there's
Yeah,
still trying to,
bang,
like,
this girl is so
figure
good. She
this
was
out.
walking funny. You're like, oh yeah, really hard. You're like, no, she's walking. She went to the surgery. Ass exploded. Slapped it.
yeah.
I was 3 pumps in.
I mean, there's gonna be new shit coming out too. Like
I-
they're all just
that's what
guinea
I'm
pigs for
wondering.
this stuff. You know?
What comes next?
Yeah, like what's the next thing? Like they've covered the face, the lips, the nose,
Yeah, tits.
tits,
Yeah.
eyes.
Oh yeah, they do eye stuff for
Is
sure.
What in what fashion?
They get rid of all your wrinkles.
Last they cut your eyelid so that
Yeah, you've never seen those like
Johnny
old,
says they cut your eyelids.
you've never
make
seen
them-
those like older ladies who are just like walking around like this.
Oh my god!
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I thought they were just awake.
Dude, they'll do a shit where like if you have like loose skin and they'll like literally like face off style, they'll like fucking cut your face and then like pin it back. Facelift or whatever.
Wow.
That I get.
Yeah.
That's a mental illness.
But there was that
That's
part
like,
of it.
I mean, you're cutting your face open and like.
Well,
I
for
mean-
some people it is. So that's why there's always
I mean, that's how Kanye's
multiple
mom
things.
died.
Oh, did she?
She died getting like some just cosmetic surgery.
Really?
Oh man.
She got put up because the thing is when you get like anesthetized, it's not zero risk of dying. Like it's like anesthesia is like really like a tricky thing, and obviously they're very good, but like they tell you, you're like, this isn't 100%.
That stuff's so sad. I remember I covered a video on this once about women that would get nose jobs. Like there was a lot of like women, like Arab women or Jewish women, like ethnic,
Yeah.
where typically have bigger
Yeah,
noses.
yeah, yeah.
I'm Italian, so we have bigger
Yeah,
noses
yeah.
and all that. But I thought it was the saddest thing, and I was I did a little roast on it. But at the end, I was kind of saying, I'm like, do you know how sad that is? It's like you're literally erasing your ethnicity. Like there's so much lineage behind that, and like whatever caused you to think that you're not beautiful or pretty because like you have a bump on your nose or your nose is bigger than like what the magazine says, or
Yeah.
like you've fallen prey to a spell. And it's like that's so sad that you.
I mean, women
you're
are all
altering
competing
that.
against each other,
I
though.
know, but it's like, how do we get them to understand? Like you don't need to do that. Like it used to be like when we grew up, like in school, or it was like you were taught to like love yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
Like that's like
Yeah, but in
completely out the
reality,
window.
Yeah, but that's not
one
how the
girl's
world
hotter than
works.
another.
Yeah, like if one girl's like, wait, I could just like get better guys if I just go fucking get a chin implant.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna make it back on the back end with
Yeah,
the rich
but do you
guy.
see the type of guys that they get? Like,
But sometimes it will be like sometimes it will be like, you ever see like a girl and like their chin is like totally like or
Oh, yeah.
guys or whatever, and then they get it and it's like, it looks normal now.
Yeah.
It's like it's not even like it doesn't look crazy, it just looks like they just got back to the median kind of
But
thing.
what you're talking about, where someone goes in and they're like, I'm decent looking, I'm gonna, get a
blow my
little
ass
shave
up.
down on something.
Yeah.
that's such a different world for if you watch. Okay, so there's a lot of like, yes, I said a lot with the British rappers too, but you'll see a rapper being like, here's, I'm fresh out of jail, he's back with his new girlfriend, it'll be posted on, No Jumper, 6 Buzz or something,
Yeah.
and it'll be a girl that her body looks like a freak show, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a enormous ass face, and you're just like, I guess if once it's decided we go, that's hot, then they go, well, I'll just have the most of that. And it's like a flex of some sort.
Yeah,
must
it's like the
be.
chicks with like there's like those chicks who have like the insane fake tits.
Yeah.
Like, they're like out to here.
Insane fake tits are nuts.
Yeah, and they're just like I don't know.
I'll tell you what, the
Guys
insane-
like them bigger the better.
The insane fake tits always are paired with the
Yeah, oh yeah. You're not just just do
You
it.
never.
Nobody just does the insane.
I
face
just feel
dance.
bad for the girls that buy into that because, like you said, it's like a competition. I think that's what you have to do. But it's like you could see the type of guys that are attracted to that. Like they all look like Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like there's the end result.
Hey, maybe
what
that's
you're
the
gonna
guy.
get.
Maybe that's the
Like,
guy
do
they
you want that?
Yeah.
Like no, then don't do that.
Yeah, but
you
maybe
know
that might honestly there might be something where like I want to be with a guy like that, and they don't pay me any attention.
I mean, that being said, though, you know, and there's dudes right now dying from dick surgeries, getting their legs shaved down to add a few inches.
The breaking the legs to go like add to it. Like there was
Yeah, I don't want to put this just on women right now.
That.
You don't. Oh, there's like a crazy surgery. It's like $100,000, and they break your legs. They basically break your like femur, and then they add like some kind of spacer in it. Oh no, it's not.
Apparently, it's one of the guys from the mob that
Or
they
it
hired
grows.
to do it.
Oh yeah,
Really?
They put a gap.
No.
For like a year.
Yeah.
It's constantly broken. You're
constantly broken, right?
Horrifying pain, and it just has to fill in.
Yeah, it's just like, and the bone fills in, and you get. But like, there's some guys who are like, they do it, and they go from like 5'7" to 5'9", and you're like, for what?
Wow.
For
Yeah,
like
why?
all this money, all this pain? You're like, for what?
Yeah, I got a friend. I mean, I'm only 5'9". I'm not a tall guy, but I have friends that are my height or just slightly so, and they are obsessed with tall guys. Like they hate you, Ryan.
Yeah.
You know, like they're short guys.
Oh, they feel some ways about it?
Yeah, like.
Well, it's because of chicks
in the
though.
dating pool.
But it's because women.
Yeah, like
are
they
like
gravitate.
that.
That's a very like new online social media thing like that happened recently. Danny DeVito has been 5'2", crushing 6'9" supermodels for years.
True.
I mean, he was married to Rhea
but he's
Perlman
Danny
for-
DeVito.
Yeah, he's Danny DeVito.
He has to be Danny DeVito to pull those type of women.
No, I do. We have a buddy who's literally 4'11",
Yeah.
comic from Toronto, and he gets so much ass. It's like
Well,
insane.
that's the thing, though, and I have friends that are like that, and I'm like, I never had a problem.
Yeah.
But like when they see a tall guy coming to the bar or whatever, like it's like women do
well, it's because women
by
have been
nature
like
gravitate towards.
Guess you're higher up.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
like
Some girl told me, by the way, I'm not going to air out who, a comedian we haven't seen in a while, goes up and he goes, hey, what's the guy you do stuff with, Danny? And he goes, he had a bit of a glow up, eh? That's what a comic said to me yesterday. I won't say who it was, but yesterday
Canadian comic. 'Cause
No,
she said
it
A.
wasn't. No, she didn't say it. I probably added an A. Yesterday, we were at the gym, and she goes, he's a real glow up. She said Danny had a glow up. Do you think you had a glow up?
I don't think so.
At 40 too, right?
I mean, I'm aging rapidly, so my body's falling apart. And I'm
Not according to this girl. She
aging
hasn't
rapidly.
seen you in 3 years because she moved out of New York.
Oh, okay.
And happy with what she saw. Let's
Yeah.
leave it at that.
I mean, losing 20 pounds will do a lot, I guess.
Oh, I guess that's what it was. She
Yeah.
liked the merchandise. Let's say
like
that
the
much.
merch. Like the merch.
But the dick surgeries, I actually used to talk about this. There was a guy, his name's Alihud Alejandro, something like that,
Yeah.
right? And he got best dick surgery money could buy, died during the procedure, trying to add a couple inches.
Yeah. and he was like,
Oh, let me just tell you something about Vegas. Don't bother with the dick reductions here. They don't work. So save yourself the time if you're thinking for yourself.
Total scam.
Barely took off a centimeter.
Just shave it down. Yeah. I mean, dude.
So it's going all ways.
It's a fucking arms race, man.
And I'm part of the problem a little bit because I like hair extensions on a chick. I don't mind. I'm a little
Yeah.
bit part of the problem, but
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with like a nice little touch. I mean, like we don't, like a little bit of makeup, whatever. Like it's just when you're overboard with it, when it's kind of like you're now turning into like an action figure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that's
exactly
kind
what
of
it
the
is.
line for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess everybody just has a different line, and then some people are just like, yeah, they just want to keep going. It's like, you know how people get tattoos, and they're like, I'm addicted to getting tattoos.
Yeah.
I kind of think of that when we were growing up, like, I was in bands and stuff like that, and I probably had like a pretty decent amount of tattoos for, a guy in a band, and it's kind of part of like, part of the uniform, if you're,
Sure, yeah,
right,
whatever,
right.
a little bit,
Yeah.
and I kind of think of was like, if I was like grew up 20 years later, would my face be covered in tattoos? You know what I mean?
Dude, you'd be covered in
Yeah, you'd
face
have
tattoos.
more for sure.
Yeah, because
I
if
think
you
so.
look back 15 years before that, you look at like Axl Rose, and you go, that was like a tattooed guy at the time, and he's got like, the heart.
dragon on his arm, and that's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then before that, the sailor with his one guy, you're like, look at this
Oh,
fucking.
yeah, totally.
So
Yeah.
I kind of think that I don't know if I would have been, because I kind of always want to make TV shows and stuff like that. So I think
Yeah.
I've had that in mind to some degree at the
Yeah.
time.
But if you were 20 years later, you probably wouldn't want to make. Nobody wants to make TV shows now. They just want to make YouTube shit.
Fine, you're right. So
and
maybe
fucking TikTok.
Well, I always
stuff.
want to do. I always want to make like comedy videos, and I was like, I always kind of thought that there was some element where I wouldn't be able to play certain character. I would never be
You'd
able to play a
have,
character.
you'd have a dick coming on your forehead.
Yeah.
like as a. You think I would have done like a Steve-O?
Yeah,
like-
Steve-O has that.
Yeah.
Well, I did at a
Back.
party once get a 69
did
as a
just
joke,
comment,
but I
right?
got it on my leg.
Yeah.
Is he actually going to get tits?
No, he said he's not doing it.
He's not doing it.
Transphobic.
Someone talked
him out of
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah, because they're putting trans people in camps.
Oh, boy.
They're not. But
Yeah, I'm surprised there's not a lot of that on the internet where a guy being like, I'm just a fucking dude. I'm not gay. I'm not trans. I got 3 sets of tits. You know, like,
Yeah.
yeah, just a freak, just like the plastic surgeon that just keeps getting high in his own supply.
It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be on my channel.
that'll be like
soon.
just like a 6-pack of tits.
Yeah. It's funny that there's this. I know a plastic surgeon that he threw these huge parties in New York, and he does like things there where he actually had a comedian host. So I did it.
Yeah.
And he
That
now
was there,
invites
yeah.
me to them. We were there, so fancy ass, $10 million, probably maybe more place in Manhattan, and. It's funny because all his money's from plastic surgery, and it kind of is, the funeral guys where, it is always kind of a funny business where there's that element of like, ooh, that more people died, like we're fucking making more money today. There's a little bit of that where it's like all these girls walking around, their faces just mangled, and this guy's just raking it in. Because you go, what percentage?
Well, then he gets to make him hot, and then he invites him into the parties. It's just like a win-win. He has all
Well,
these fucking
what
chicks
percentage
walking around.
though? And right now, the percentage of chicks walking around, you can tell they got plastic surgery, didn't work.
Yeah. But I mean, there is an element too.
And you go, sorry.
Yeah. Like the thing is, if you have a lot of money, you can go to the actual like best person. It's like there are a lot of chicks walking around who did have it, and you don't know because they probably didn't go too crazy. And, but that it'll probably get better and better. Like it'll, in 30 years from now, it probably will be like everybody has access to like plastic surgery where you can't.
Yeah, it'll be
really,
super
You can't even really
common.
tell.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, like if you saw a girl with fake tits, you talked about it. Like, if
I mean, dude, don't you remember like porn from like the 80s and stuff? Like how bad the fake tits were in some of them?
Yeah.
Like they were like insane. Like they'd be like different like
Looked
levels.
like
and,
pumpkins.
yeah, like they were just like they weren't even on the same. Like the one was up, one was like down.
Yeah,
And
they're
they
like, this is
just-
the best we could do.
Yeah, they're
Nipples
like
in the weird spot.
Yeah, and then like everything was nipples like all over the place.
Those were doctors working out of caves, dude.
Well, they were just like it was new. They were like
Yeah.
figuring it out as they went along. Like how are you supposed to figure out how to like best do these surgeries?
Yeah.
You know?
You would see it like shift to the side.
Yeah.
Like,
If you think about Pamela Anderson at the time, that was the big joke, was she's all silicone.
Yeah.
right.
Pretty normal chick like in Los Angeles right now
Oh,
in terms of tit size.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah, that's
Oh hell
true.
yeah! All over Florida, that's fucking see that. Dude, you go to
Do you
Miami.
see
Florida,
it in
they like
Florida
them?
now? It's-
Miami is like
Miami.
super, man. I remember like going to a Miami Heat game and like the amount of chicks with BBLs there.
Yeah, it
Insane.
hasn't really reached South Carolina. All the women there look like Artie Lang. It's just
It's probably it's a good and a bad thing.
So when you're doing all these videos, I feel like a lot of them you're always saying it's narcissist.
Yeah.
Why is it narcissist and not people trying to get a buck quick?
I think it's like I always go back to like when I was younger, and if like you saw somebody that was always looking in the mirror, that was like narcissism.
Yeah.
And obviously like that's kind of turned into like a lot of things like abusive spouses and stuff like that. But I always go to the root of it. It's like someone that's obsessed with their vanity, I think, is like a complete narcissist.
Sure.
And it doesn't
That's
stop
like
there.
So many women.
And a lot of people will go, oh, they're not bothering anybody. It's like, go be in a relationship with one of these people and see
Definitely bothering their husband.
Yeah, like how much are they really focusing on their husband and not themselves? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it goes deeper than that.
Oh,
But
there's
in
no.
their mind, they're like, I'm doing this for him. Like,
Right.
I'm looking good and it's for him.
Well, I'll tell you what you're not doing for him is forcing him to take photos of you in a pool.
oh yeah.
Well, you see that. Dude, last time
It's
I was
ultimate simp move.
Dude, last time I was in Vegas and I did a video on this. I was there and I filmed this. Like these people had no idea. What
Oh, you
was there.
watched them?
Sometimes I'm like in real life. I filmed some of the shit that I show on my channel. This was one of them. And there was I was in, I forget what hotel I was at, Vegas pool, and this guy rolls in with these two women. One maybe looked like his girlfriend or whatever, and he sits down and he's just sitting there, but he looked miserable. Like he wasn't really in clothes. They were all in their bathing suit, and then they just immediately go to the end of the pool, and they hand him the camera, and he's just doing this over and over, walking over, looking at it's never good enough, right back, sit back, right, and then finally like she leaves. It's like 20 minutes of that, and he thinks he's done, and you could just see him like lunch. And now the friend wants pictures now, so like she hired him. Like he's like a production assistant.
Yeah.
You know what
He's
I mean?
like on vacation.
And I watched because like I see these videos, but like in real life, it was so fascinating watching his face. He was just dead inside.
No soul.
No, like you don't get to see that side. Like the guy was like miserable.
When you think of like pathways for life, Instagram boyfriend is a very like you're probably wondering how I got here.
yeah.
Just
when
you're on your 45th photo.
That's the end, dude.
Can I eat now?
Yeah.
Oh man,
that stinks.
It's
Fucking
crazy,
hell.
man. You see everything, man. Like the selfie obsession. People like a lot of selfie deaths, man. Like falling off of cliffs like that. I monitor.
Is that true?
Oh yeah, like that's spiked over like the past
for
few
sure.
years.
Oh man.
Yeah, just for couples, a gymnast, a really beautiful woman, a gymnast, like a athlete, fell off a cliff.
She's probably doing
and
something
just
crazy though.
She's
She's probably
know.
doing like a handstand on like the edge of like the fucking Yosemite or some shit.
She definitely difficulty 10, execution 10.
Yeah.
I don't know if she landed it, but
That's a big old 0 on the landing. But.
yeah,
Perfect selfie.
Yeah,
It's
man.
not easy.
that's dark. But there's so much of that. Like it trains too. People stay on the train tracks. It's pretty easy to move out of the way.
So crazy.
Like, when a train's
I always
coming,
I always like thought it was the funniest thing. Like people getting hit by trains, but like. You have like so much notice.
That's what I mean.
Like you have so much advance notice before you get hit by a train. Like that is not like walking out into the street and a car smokes you. Like the fucking ground is shaking.
Yeah, they
for
tell you.
5 minutes. There's all these noises. It starts honking. And people still like people. Sometimes you'll hear like they'll get their car will like break down on the tracks.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to get out. They're trying to. You're like, just get out of your car.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over. Just get out of your car. Your car's gone. Like get out. And then they like don't get out.
Well, that's natural selection. You don't want to get in the way of that. That's why they put an app out where it's like alerts people who get too close to wild animals at Yellowstone, because they'll go up to bison and bears and like try to take selfies with them, and they'll get mauled and shit. I have a whole series.
Would be a pretty sick selfie.
Yeah, and they just recently released an app to like where they
So what they put like
it.
they put like a tag in the animal.
It's when you get too close on their camera,
One of
it
those, like,
starts
NFC?
alerting that you're too close because they're incapable of knowing.
Yeah.
But it's like you're getting in the way of natural selection. Like, don't put signs up. Like these people we can't have these people breeding. You know what I mean? It's just
Well, the problem is that all these women with all these things are making themselves more eligible to breed.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them
That's
too.
why.
They have kids, and then the kids look like their old selves. Right? Remember, there's this Korean guy who like he sued his wife or something because she had all this work done. I think it was Korea, but like
One of those.
Yeah, one of those. But she had all this work done, never told him, and then they had kids, and he's like, her kids are fucking ugly.
Oh wow! I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Daddy, why are you suing mommy? All right. Well,
That had to be somebody with a good surgeon though for him.
Yeah,
to
it
not
was like
know.
she looked great, and then I guess she was a fucking gargoyle before.
Oh
and,
man.
Yeah, he wasn't happy.
That's a Maury Povich episode right there.
Whatever the Korean equivalent of it is.
fellas, we have to tell you about Marek Health. I'm an evangelist for Marek Health at this point because it has been very helpful to me. Me and Danny both did it. We did the blood work. I've actually been talking on stage a little bit about the blood work I've been doing.
really?
I got a little bit that I've been cooking up about
blood work, man.
I got a little bit I've been cooking up about the blood work. So honestly, probably if I was to say the main things that I like about it, first of all, most treatments that are out there are they're not preventative. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're only treating the symptom.
Absolutely.
Whereas these guys are actually invested in your health. These guys are all jacked. These are healthy people.
Yeah, they're all jacked.
And they're on all the latest stuff too.
Yeah.
So these guys aren't, it's not
This
dated.
is the cutting edge.
There's so many. How many doctors probably you go to this random guy and he's like, he hasn't updated his opinions in 10 years. He's not on. You know what I mean? So Marek Health actually does your blood work. They actually give you treatments that are not just treating the symptom, cutting edge diagnostic labs, concierge health coaching, expert clinical oversight. They support clients in achieving health and fitness goals by leveraging data-driven lifestyle and nutrition recommendations along with supplement and prescription treatment options. They have everything too. These guys will go as far as they have the hair stuff.
Oh, everything.
Yeah, it's like literally whatever you have, these guys are, it's the place to go. And like I said before, the sooner you do it, the sooner you have a baseline to compare it to in the future. So it's something everyone should do. Many of the Marek competitors pencil whip a prescription based on cookie cutter protocols. Marek Health goes the extra mile to ensure that any recommendation for lifestyle modification, supplementation, and treatment fit your lifestyle, blood work, and goals. The coaching and treatment plans evolve alongside our clients. We meet you where you're at to help you get to where you'd like to be. The team maintains rigorous clinical standards, and they only hire physicians who reflect a standard of excellence and who are hungry to continue their education in the years to come. Exported onboarding is available to those interested in working with Marek Health, medical provider for personalized treatment options ranging from hormone optimization, cognitive enhancements, hair loss prevention, body recomposition, all from the comfort of your home. The optimization package includes the same elaborate panel that I myself get, Danny got, and with those test results, the Marek Health clinical team optimizes my personal protocol. To get the exact same panel and medical oversight, click the link in the video description or go to marekhealth.com/boyscast. Use the code BOYSCAST, save 10% at checkout. Actually, I think I said Dr. Phil, Maury Povich, that has to be a pretty good, point in the curve of, the freak takeoff.
Dude, speaking of Maury Povich, there's
Jerry Springer.
Oh, Jerry
right,
Springer.
It was a moment, but it's decentralized now.
it just put like the power in the actual
But also
freak
they
shows.
weren't making money. Like that was, that people used to always talk about the 15 minutes of fame. You go on Jerry Springer, he might be famous 50 minutes, then it's over.
Yeah.
Now you see it's if you're making real money off of being a freak,
I know.
It's an attractive value proposition.
It's crazy. Jerry Springer was a mayor, wasn't he?
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Before or after?
I believe before.
Okay.
Oh, he was the mayor before. I thought he ran for office after.
I thought he was the
That'd
mayor
be hilarious
before the
after, and
show.
people voted for him.
Oh, I mean, dude.
Well, I know he was in politics after.
Yeah,
You got to see this Maury Povich clip. This is the best one ever. With the olives, the girl that's scared of olives. Have you guys seen this? It's the best. It's like he's so evil. It's like she's got a phobia of green olives, and she's such a meek person. Like you got to feel bad. Like, you can tell this is a really like she doesn't leave the house much, but it probably took them a long time to book her to get her out there, and he's like, so how did you develop this? And he's like kind of interviewing her, and then all of a sudden, like mid interview, he's like, bring out the olives, and she's like, no, and she's holding his arm, and he's like, Lisa, you're holding my arm too strong, like yelling at her, like he's like abusive, and she runs away, and they have a big jar.
I wonder who set her up for that.
Like, how is he not in prison for that? That's evil, dude.
Yeah.
It's tough love, man.
love,
yeah, you're
It's like,
right. Touche.
Exposure therapy, But normally it's like, here, you're gonna smell and all. We'll drive by like an olive orchard.
He just
like
the most olives ever.
It's like the green goo.
Yeah,
Like just
he
from
didn't
the
even
ceilings.
ease her into it. Like it was just like, oh man.
So that had to be, and then it switched into, I guess, the Jersey Shore, that sort of era.
I mean,
where,
look, everybody's we're giving shit to the people who are doing this stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's a lot of consumers of this stuff. Like, there's a lot of people who want.
This is why I disagree. This is where I'm on the other end of that, because I agree that I personally am a consumer of this, and I'm saying against my will.
Right.
But you
know
don't
what
watch.
I mean?
You watch Maury Povich.
I don't watch Maury Povich.
When you're like when you're like a teenager.
You think when I was a teenager, I was a big daytime TV guy? I mean, it's on here and there.
But you never like watched the clips of fucking Jerry Springer or something?
If I'm flicking by and something's happening, I'll watch it. But then if I turn my TV back on and that's all they give me now, that's what I'm saying. So, all this stuff, it's kind of weird because it's... no, I don't seek it out. I don't follow them. I've never followed one of them. There's a perfect example.
You should be able to customize algorithms. That would be nice.
Yeah. But I've never once followed.
It's a comedy gold mine. So if you're in a comedy, I mean, like it's so funny, and like there's so much material.
I know.
Like you just have to just read what's happening, and it's funny. Like it writes its own jokes. Obviously I enjoy it too in a twisted way because I'm sick in the head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so I it's yeah, it's all our fault, but basically,
Kinda.
this is, yeah, we're all the problem.
Like all the OnlyFans stuff. He's like, yeah, these chicks are only doing this because there's all these fucking pathetic simps out there. Who are
Oh
paying
yeah,
them
it's the
money.
Simps. There was one with a guy. There's a video of a guy with these girls walking past the park bench, and he's like peeked over behind the bench, like with his camera propped up, and they just keep, yeah, like, and it's just like there's like families going by like that. Like, what kind of a man is that though?
Yeah.
like he like that's pathetic.
Oh yeah,
Like-
there's
like
a
you're
lot of
a-
those.
Okay, I'll
Again.
give you. Sorry, continue. Actually,
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say. So, if you think of it like this, though, if you, like you said, that's the guilty pleasure, but you know, it's sort of a toxic thing to like, but it's funny, right?
Yeah.
If you think of that as okay, so you want to eat good, right? So imagine every time you sat down anywhere, it was Big Macs everywhere. All like just a full food of, and you go, well, that's a different level of
Sure.
like I can walk
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
McDonald's and not get something versus it's never you go in your pocket, one's there,
Right,
It's
yeah.
so it's
You're like, you can't escape it.
you can't just fucking
True.
escape it.
True.
I mean, which is probably some of the food thing, you know?
I mean, I
you got the
guess.
fucking seed oils in your
You
big.
gotta just get off social media, I guess. I mean, you gotta just go.
It is-
yeah, and then your job's like, hey, you
Read
need to
some- yeah,
answer
that's
your
the
phone, and you go,
problem,
okay,
yeah.
well, I guess I'm back.
It is nice to not look at social media. Like I do that. Like I'll take days where like I leave my phone at my house and just go outside. Like it just becomes like the 90s again.
Yeah.
Like it literally, like it really is like a drug.
Yeah, oh,
and
for
you
sure.
really can though. Like it's like you go through withdrawals for a while.
Oh,
like
yeah.
but once you get over those withdrawals, it's like life's normal again.
Yeah, kinda.
It really is a
You
drug.
do go through withdrawals.
And then,
You
but-
do.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
do.
But then
Like,
you'll
you-
have like a moment where you're like, fuck, where's... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
But-
actually, like if we left our phones in this room right now and went outside, like how long before we start shaking?
Well, what happened is then I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to get a hold of somebody. And I'm like, fuck,
Yeah,
I
'cause
don't
you
have my
need it,
phone.
'cause- yeah.
Well, because I'm like, I don't know my phone. I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to find this person?
Danny had the box for a while.
Well, I have the box, the cookie jar.
But back in the day, it's like, how did we function before though?
It
Like
was worse.
It was kind of like, remember there was an answering machine. Like I'll call you back whenever I.
Dude,
feel
remember
like
there's
it,
like
or
the
when
whole
I get
thing where
home.
like if you needed to like get a hold of somebody and you're like, I think they're at this restaurant, and then you call the restaurant and you're
Right.
like, is this guy there?
Yeah.
Can I talk to him?
Yeah.
Me and my
And,
friends in high school, a big move was you'd call the house and it would say, you have a collect call from, we're at the skate park, we'll be here for 20 minutes, see you later.
Yeah, and if you're in a relationship too, like if you don't answer back in like 2 hours, it's like
That's
it's
a
a whole
huge
problem.
part of it.
That
It's
is
like-
my number. That is maybe my number one because I often like that's like there's not a lot of things about living 100 years ago I would love, but the idea of if you were like working or you're like traveling for your job or some
Yeah.
shit and you're like, yeah, I'll talk to you in 4 months.
Yeah, yeah.
You might get a letter from me, otherwise I'll see
A
you.
letter.
I'll see you in 4 months. Hopefully you didn't remarry because you thought I died.
Yeah. Or you gotta like their photos every day, like you're standing by waiting for the next photo. Oh, you didn't like my photo. I posted that photo. You didn't like my photo today. It's like I don't even care. Like it's like I'm with you. I've already committed to you.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I remember I had an argument with an ex once, like 10 years ago or more, maybe 15 years ago, and then she like unfollowed me on Facebook.
Oh jeez.
But we were like living together.
Oh,
We
jeez.
lived together, and then this was like her big like. She's like, "Fuck you! I unfollowed you on Facebook," and then I was like, "Okay,
Dude, I had a girl that had bored. Dude,
don't let the door hit your ass on the way out."
I had a girlfriend.
And you're like, oh, sorry. You go, because of the argument, she goes, the content's just not doing it. It's the comedy.
Yeah, it's the
I
comedy.
still,
I don't know.
oh, not argument
I
related.
just can't
This-
look at this every
The
day.
stand-up thing you've been doing is, sorry.
It's terrible, man. I had a girlfriend who had borderline personality disorder. Do you
Yeah.
guys know what that is?
I mean,
Dude.
vaguely, but not enough.
Dude, that
not-
needs to get out there. Like that is the worst possible.
bipolar?
It's worse than it's bipolar is like just normal compared to this.
Okay,
Is
what's
like
this?
split personality. Like walk in one room one way and come out and you're a whole different person. And I got involved with somebody like that. You mix that with social media and you don't like her photos.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a box fan dropped on my head while it was on. Because
What?
I don't, yeah, dude, I could tell you a real story.
For not liking a photo.
I could tell you a real story, and I'm kind of saving
Let's
it for
hear it.
this. I'm kind of saving it for this, and I just want to make it clear, like I'm not want to talk about relationships, but like this needs to
If
get
it's
out
X
there.
enough, then
this
it's
is
fine.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like this is like a public service announcement.
yeah.
So the first I got wind of this is, so I met this girl in another country. Okay. So and out of the blue, she's like, I'm coming to America and I got a visa for 6 months or whatever.
Can you say which country?
I'm not gonna say. I don't want to name this. Like,
What continent?
It doesn't matter.
Continent?
Continent.
CIA over here,
Far
right?
away, like halfway around the globe, dude.
Okay.
So
Can't get the continent.
no.
Jeez.
So she,
Wow, this is fucking.
so she comes
This
out.
guy's scared here. She's a scared man.
Shaken, not stirred, definitely.
She comes out, she stays with me, and then we go to a movie. We go to like an old movie, like where they show like old Hitchcock movies.
Yeah.
And we see this movie called the Sunset Boulevard. It's like from the 40s, and it's about this crazy like ex-actress who's retired, and like some guy breaks down in front of her house, and she lets him in. She falls for him and all this, but she's got a split personality. So I'm sitting with her, and she's watching it, and she's like, she's got borderline. And I'm thinking like she's saying like she's borderline crazy.
Yeah.
Like, but she keeps saying it, and movie's done, whatever.
And you're thinking maybe I shouldn't have come to this girl.
Well, I'm not sure. I like it put up a red flag. I'm like, she's like hinting at something.
Yeah, and then
but
you're
I
like
couldn't
thinking back,
figure
you
it
go, the
out.
sex is really good.
Well, of
Okay, so
course.
that's how it started.
yeah. So we're in the car, like outside of a convenience store, and then
Did you get jacked off by 2 people?
and she's sitting there, and she's like talking about the movie again. She's like, yeah, that woman really had borderline. I'm like, what is that? Like, what actually is it? She's like, borderline personality disorder. Then I made a joke, and I was like, is that what your doctor say you have? You know, and like she has a sense of humor, but she didn't laugh. She like put her head down, and I'm like, do you actually have that? Like, what is that? And she's like, well, my doctors say I have a lot of things. And
Mainly chlamydia. Get checked.
It's crazy because when you fuck him, you never get the normal version.
Right. So I got like a rush through my body, like a warm. I'm like, she's staying with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't understand this. She goes to bed. I look this up online, and it's like a whole community of people going.
It's like a movie almost. Or she's like,
I can make a movie.
Yeah, because you're like, she's
it
like
gets
in
worse.
the house.
It gets worse. I mean, there's a whole community of
And
people.
you'd never like stayed with her in a before?
I
Like,
did out in
like
where
in a
she's
hotel or
from.
something,
Like
or
I
like, yeah.
spent some time.
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
but this was
okay.
the first time on my turf. You know, staying with
Gotcha.
me or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm on like she's in bed and I'm like on the internet. I'm like, what is this? I gotta see what this is. And like, there's a whole community of people like these people should be killed. Like people that had relationships with them, like destroyed their lives. Like,
Yeah.
really seriously overwhelming. Like where like this is like serious stuff and it's not out there. Like these people will destroy you because what it is, it's like they have this like inner turmoil where like they need constant validation and they have a abandonment issue. So and even if you don't do anything like that, like they create it. Like they're like it's like a circular thing. Like they're just ruined from their childhood and all that. But long story short, I'm in a grocery store. She starts like hunching over. She's like, oh, my stomach's hurting. You know, and I'm like, oh, are you okay or whatever? And she's like, yeah, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And like, she keeps doing it, right? And I'm like, are you sure you're okay? She's like, yeah, don't worry about it. So I don't worry about it.
Sure.
Right? But the next
Wrong.
time she's hunched over, she's like, well, what's the point of being with somebody if you don't care about them? You know, I'm like, really? And I'm like, what do you want to do? Go to the hospital? And she's like, I mean, I'm like dying over here. So I go to the hospital. I bring this girl to the hospital. Go in. They check her out. Nothing's wrong.
Obviously.
Absolutely nothing's wrong. She goes to bed. On the internet, I look this up. Like, do they do this? And sure enough, they make up these scenarios to get you, like, trap you into like not caring enough, so they can be mad at
Like
you.
they're very manipulative.
Yeah,
Like super manipulative.
So just picture what I just said, and that happened like 5 or 6 times. Right? Don't have to go into all the details.
And they take it through to the end where you're going
forever. Yeah, and then
does she yell at the doctor when the doctor like? Is there some?
No,
turmoil?
you're always the problem.
No, but I'm saying in the first scenario when the doctor's like, "There's nothing wrong." Did they fight that?
No, she just kind of like, oh, okay, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's just like she accepts it because she's targeted on me.
Are you like,
you know what I mean?
You're not going to love the bill for this?
Yeah, I don't even know. Well, because you know how you have to go to the hospital. They'll just take you in America.
Yeah, they'll just take
like
you,
no
yeah.
matter what. So I don't know what happened to the bill. I didn't pay it. You know what I mean? But so here's the end of it. Here's the worst of the worst, right?
So this happens 5 times. At this
yeah,
point.
so I'm not going to bore you with all those, but just picture like shit like that over and over. Here's the end. Here's the answer. This is incredible. So get home, right? And she's like oh no, before we get home, we're in the car and she starts complaining about her ankle. Again, just mysterious problem. She's like, oh, my ankle or whatever. I'm like, what do you want me to do? She's like, well, I don't know. I need to like tape it or something. So we go to CVS and get like a bandage or whatever and like get back in the house or whatever. And I'm like putting the keys up, the jacket on the hook or whatever. And she's sitting on the floor doing, she's like, well, I guess I'll just do this myself. I'm like, you mean give me a chance to like, you know what I mean? Like it's always like she creates a scenario to like be mad. And it got to the point where like I was aware of it and it was like half comical, but I'm like, if I laugh, she'll kill me.
Yeah,
you
but were you also like, this is over? Like,
oh yeah.
Like this is like the moment she goes back. Like,
yeah. I'm just trying to like get through it a little bit.
Totally.
You don't have her living in your house currently, which is what some people probably have.
No, she was staying with me.
Yeah, but temporary.
Oh, yeah, temporary.
You're not married to her.
No, I was.
So you're buying time.
Yeah. So now she's mad or whatever. She's like, I'm like, you really think I don't want to help you? Like I literally just don't care.
Yeah, what do you think the angle is?
Yeah, like I don't care. Like, and she's like, well, I guess I'll just call my sister across the world. And so she has to call her sister on speaker to like. So while he won't help, you know, like that's how awful this was, right? So then I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna go to bed. Yeah. So I end up staying on the couch. She stays in the bed. Now this is the next morning. I wake up. She's in the kitchen and she's a makeup artist. Okay, so she's got all her makeup.
Crazy career.
Yeah. So she's got her all her makeup on my kitchen table, right? And I go over to her to try to mend it. I'm like, are you still mad at me? You know what I mean? Like, and she's like, well, what I said. So she still wants to be, and I'm like, really, you really want to keep going on? You know what I mean? I'm like, why do we got to fight? You know what I mean?
How long was she supposed to be there for?
I think she had like a 6 months visa.
And she was going to be with you for 6 months?
Yeah.
That's a wild move on your part, though.
I know. Lesson learned. Trust me.
Yeah, it's what guys do for, the shit guys do for
I take
pussy.
responsibility.
Man, that's what guys do for some ass.
Young guy moved to the
young
max.
guy fucking hasn't had a little ass in a minute.
I'm being wild.
Yeah. So we're probably like a month and a half into this, maybe. Not even. Maybe a month.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously I'm sitting here. I'm at the end of my row. I'm just kind of like, am I allowed to be mad now? You know, the whole
call
time.
Like ICE and get her deported,
dude. So what I did instead was I just took all of her makeup and just threw it off of the counter. I go, now this is somebody doing something bad to you.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to do now? Like I had enough, and it's so out of character to do that.
Sure.
But I'm like, now
you're trying to make a point, sort of.
Say what?
You're trying to make a point, sort of.
Kind of like I'm like, this is what it's like to be mean to you.
Yeah.
Because do you see the difference here? And her face just turned red, and she's like, you think you could effing just throw my stuff? And she just fucking starts running around my living room, and she's looking at objects on the wall. Now, this is the end of the movie. This is like the height and like Scorsese score, Tarantino music's playing. Like she's going around like
you're crying in the bathtub.
Dude, no, I'm trying to figure out what she's
doing. What she's about to do.
Yeah. So I have guitars. I have a guitar that my grandfather gave me before he died, like hanging up on the wall. And she goes to grab. I'm like, if you grab that, I'm going to throw you over the balcony. Like you're not going to touch that. Yeah. And she's like, oh, you could just throw my stuff. Then she takes my computer. I have like an iMac with like all my editing stuff connected. She lifts it and just rips it off of the wall and everything, and she's got it over her head like ready to smash it. So I'm wrestling with her to get the computer down. I get it out of her hand, then she starts trying to punch me in the face. She's like 5'3". It's like nothing, right? She's trying to punch me in the face. I'm like grabbing, I'm like, I'm not gonna. Then she starts punching me in the stomach. It's nothing, but she's doing like full force. Like she's full on like in a boxing ring, like face is purple, like going as hard as she can, screaming or whatever. And I keep just stopping. I'm like, I'm not going to do anything. And she's like, I want you to break my fucking jaw. I want you to break my fucking jaw. She's saying that, right? I'm like, I'm never going to do anything. You're going to just tire yourself out. Then she comes up to me, grabs my shirt, right? Now she's like trying to wrestle me. So in my head, I'm like, I'll just go with her. So like she's pulling me down, and then I go and I grab her arms and I'm just going down with her. So now I'm on top of her. I'm like, stop. I'm like, I'm not going to do anything. Like, stop. This is crazy. Like, what are you trying to do? Right? She gets up. She huffs and puffs, and she goes over to the all her makeup, and she starts picking up, putting it away. And I go in the other room, and now I'm just like, whoa, like, what am I going to do? Right? So she's like, I hear her in the other room. She's like, I'll fucking kill you. like, I'll fucking kill you. Like, you don't realize, like, I'll fucking kill you. And she's like murmuring it, like, to herself, like, not even to me.
Guess I'll get a hotel.
Right?
You stay at my house.
You can't leave her at her house though. That's, you know, you're gonna come back to a tornado.
Well, yeah. So I go out back.
Call the cops.
Hold on. Well, the neighbors hear all of this. By the way, we're in close corners.
Nosy
Windows
neighbors.
are open, doors open, everything, and I'm already like, everyone hears this, right? So I go past the kitchen or whatever, and I'm going to go outside, and she's like, "If you leave, this is over." And in my head, I'm like, you didn't think this was already over? And I was about to say it, Ryan. It was on the tip of my tongue. Like, if I do that, I die. If I say that, I die. If I say that, I die. So I'm like, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to either just like ease out of the house or come back in. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, it's pretty crazy that we got to go through this. And I kind of closed the door or whatever. And I couldn't even finish the sentence. She comes right around the table. Once again, starts trying to punch my stomach, everything. Same thing. Pull my shirt, go down on the ground, the whole thing again. Right? So now she gets back up, huffs and puffs, puts all her makeup on the counter, right? And now again with the I'm gonna fucking kill you. You realize so now I was standing there at that moment.
There lots of knives and stuff?
Well, dude, this is exactly what I was
That's what
thinking.
I would think first. They just get to the knives.
Dude, this was the first time in my life I actually considered that this person might actually kill me, because I knew
You picturing you're on the news. Yeah.
well, she's standing in front of the knife drawer, like saying this after knowing her disorder, all this shit that she's doing, right? And I stood there actually, and it was literally in my head, I'm like, she could come around with a knife and actually kill. Like, I actually was like kind of fearing a bit. I'm like, she might try to do something now. So I just like walk towards the door, don't say anything. I just open the door and I go to my car. She comes out yelling. I get in my car and I just jet away, and I go around the block to the other side of the neighborhood, and I just park the car. And I'm like,
Kiss your stuff goodbye.
kind of, right? And then I seen her come out with like a bag or whatever, and she's like walking up the street, like with her clothes or whatever. Like, I have no idea where she's going. So I go back around the block, and there's cops already there, like blocking the street off.
She called them?
No, somebody called the
else
cops,
called them.
right? And I go
A hero.
up, and dude, I get out of my car because I know it's for me, right?
Yeah.
And dude, I look like somebody that was like living under a bridge. Like my shirt's all ripped, and I'm walking across the street, you know. And like the cops here, there's a white cop and a black cop, and the black cop is like, he doesn't believe anything. Like, he's like, well, first of all, I go up to him. I was like, did somebody call a cop up? She's like, yeah, there's multiple calls. There's chaos going on over there. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what the hell. And she's like, well, he's like, well, we got her up the road. Like, we have her up the road or whatever. And, you know, I give the whole story and that I gave you just now. And the black cop was kind of saying, he's like, just let's cut to the chase. He's like, was there any point that you were fearing for your life? I guess that's like the barometer for like to be arrested.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, you know what, man? Like, honestly, and I painted the picture like I did to you. I was like, there really was a moment where I actually kind of thought this was going to happen. And based on that, they're like, okay, well, we got her or whatever. And like, I'm from New York. So in New York, I guess you have to press charges. Like, to right? Like, somebody punches.
Which
like,
they never do. So
California, they don't. And
in California, they'll just do it. Like,
they decide.
They don't need you to say.
Yeah,
they
so,
just go.
So I go, well, I just want her to, you know, like, go to a hotel. Where it's like, no, she's
not up to you.
She's like, no, she's going to jail. Like, we're taking her to jail for attempted murder.
Well, and what did you say? You're like, well, she didn't attempt to murder me. Yeah, I thought she might.
Yeah, and he's like, well, you don't decide that. And I'm like, I don't have to press charge or whatever. It's like, you're talking about she's in a knife drive threatening to kill you. Like, that's illegal, you know, or whatever. Maybe not attempted murder, but like threatening to kill somebody.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Okay. So, yeah, they end up taking her to jail. And, you know, and finally the two cops believe, like, I painted this story and they understood. And then I got a call out of the blue from a bail bondsman the next day where, like, they're like, hi, this is so-and-so bail bonds, and so-and-so has you down as an emergency contact. So, like, I'm like, are you I was on 20 minutes on the phone telling the guy the bail bondsman story. He's like, dude, that's crazy, man. Like, yeah, like, she actually thought I was gonna bail her out. That's how insane it was. right? So then I get a call from the dad, her dad,
back home,
who abused her. She told me the whole story about how when she was little at the dinner table, he used to spit in her face. This is the kind of people that she grew up with. Again, it starts from the childhood with these people. You know, like they were massively abused. There was a time she dropped crumbs on the floor, and he used her as a mop, grabbed her hair, and would like clean up. Evil. So he tried to call me and try to tell, he's like, you need to grow up and take care. I go, are you the guy who just like uses their children as mops on the kitchen floor? And he was like silent. I go, yeah, she told me everything. I was like, you should be dead. You should be thrown off a cliff. Don't ever call here again. And he's like, no, I probably shouldn't have got involved, you know, and then all of a sudden,
wow,
yeah, and then he hung up. Never heard from her again. I got an email like 3 months later saying she was sorry and all this stuff. But like, dude, what a fucking story. She went to jail.
Well, did she?
Yeah, and then they sent her back to where she's from. I don't even know.
Deported?
Like, if she was I would imagine. Yeah, I got calls from
some
her
guys
sister
living with her right now.
Dude, I hope not, man.
For sure.
But like, dude, again, like to preface, like I would never. I'm not one to talk about like past relationships. But like this dude, like
crazy.
I was shocked how little people realize how many people have this disorder. Like it's a lot of women. It is, and that's a controversial thing. Like there's
why is it more women?
I don't know. I mean, women are more emotional, so maybe they're more susceptible to this kind of
to have like
disorder,
crazy
possibly.
emotional outbursts. I guess.
But there's definitely a counterculture of women who really don't buy that. Like they don't like that when they're labeled with that.
Sure.
You know, so if you read about it, but there's a high percentage of women that have that. Men have it too. Pete Davidson actually was open about having that disorder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's incredible. Like I'm reading about how like very little people realize the severity of this. Like it's really serious stuff, and I don't even know if there's a cure for it. They say there's like behavioral therapy things they could do, but the success rate is like really
there's no
small.
medication for it.
I don't think so. I mean, I think they're on medications for
But
like
it's just,
like I think they're still trying to figure it out. And again, I'm no expert, but I'm like, if I ever have an opportunity to talk about it, I was going to save this for my show, but I'm like, I feel this is a good platform to talk about. But like, really, you know what I mean? It's like, I would never even bring it up. Like, and there's no humor in this, obviously. Right. It's like, I literally am just like, to the men out there, like, look into this and ask questions.
You're saying that's a red flag? Yeah.
This is a new red flag you guys should be aware of.
Did she have dyed red hair?
No, but she had
would have been a good guess.
Color a little.
Give Danny a guess.
I have a question.
No, you guess.
I think that's her.
No, I have a question, and I think everybody.
That's what I was
everybody
picturing.
wants to know the answer to this. How hot was she at a time?
Oh yeah, she was hot.
Yeah,
of course.
That's what it is.
That's our blind
there's
spot, right?
There's no like fives with BPD that you're fucking.
Yeah, that's our blind spot.
That is the thing. Is you're like she's super hot, and you go.
That's always been.
You're always just like you can look past you because you probably had like tiny warning signs. You're just like
the threshold to overlook things.
Yeah,
I tell them, if you're trying to smash, warning signs probably, they just seem like another thing. This guy was really like, dude, trying to smash this and that. You're like, it's another obstacle. I'm just,
This guy's like, 6 month fuck fest, and then she goes back afterwards. Sounds great.
It's insane, dude.
Fuck. Oh man, dude, that's sick. Yeah,
dude, they got to bring back lobotomies.
Is it good?
Honestly, man, I joke about that with my wife all the time.
Yeah,
but I'm like, whenever she's fucking just whatever, I'm just like,
well, that's the thing.
I'm like 60 years ago, we would have taken you, gotten you a lobotomy. I would have been happier. You would have been happier.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's like such a win-win. And she's just like, what? So I just be like a drooling idiot? And I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
So what?
Right. Well, you know what's interesting about that? Because I'm a big supporter of bringing the lobotomy back.
Me too, man.
I feel like they didn't give it time to develop.
Yeah, because
they would have got better at
jabbing. Yeah, like fucking BBLs and stuff.
They just screwed like a knife.
They literally just like put in fucking
poke your brain or something to hope it just
hope you just like cut something.
Yeah, they would have gotten by now. It would have been perfect.
Dude, literally every before and after photo that they show, and it's like the person looks way happier than the other one.
Yeah,
but
they're a vegetable.
They're like they're not like fully a vegetable. They're just kind of like they're just like a little drooling idiot.
Yeah, that's okay. They're harmless. Yeah. At least they're not throwing box fans over your head, which I left that part about when she was going to grab the other stuff. She pulled a fan out and just smashed it right over my head while it was on. I left that
Crazy.
part out.
Yeah. Well, that you could have got her for assault for sure.
Yeah, but I didn't even. I just wanted her out of the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
you're trying to, like-
not trying
you're
to like punish her. I'm like, I
your
just don't
mind's
want to
just, like,
see this
a
person
million-
anymore.
Yeah, moving a million miles. Trying to be
Yeah.
like, how do I just get her out of here?
Yeah,
with
that's
her
it.
stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
So I don't have to go see her to give her stuff back.
Yeah,
and, like,
I don't want to see her. I don't go to court and like
No.
punish her. Like I don't
Yeah, you're
care.
just like-
yeah.
6 months is not a good enough exit plan. One piece of advice that it's always, whenever you're trying out a scenario like that, from longer than 6, you don't want them, like you almost need a spot that you can leave. Whereas when it's your place that they're just staying at, you can't really leave.
No.
You're on the lease, they're not. Yeah, you need, that is, I feel like always kind of like a high risk move.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's so many probably like married couples who own a home, and there's like,
Oh,
guys
that's
like
the worst.
Guys like, where the fuck am I supposed to go?
Well,
I
that's
think
even
of that.
better though, because even still, you go, okay, we own this home. Technically, you know, she's not gonna. When it's just you on the lease, she could just trash this place, not leave. Now the landlord's trying to kick you out. She won't. You're gone, and it's your problem.
Yeah.
you can't walk away from the problem.
No, you're trapped.
If you own the house together,
Yeah.
it's a hassle. But like, she's not gonna go. You know, you're in this together at least.
Yeah.
But she's all not a rational actor at this point.
It's lower. Yes,
You
so
know.
there's levels of risk in this game.
She'll burn that shit down so you don't have anything. Like, so neither of you have anything. Like, she's like, yeah, I don't care. Fucking burn this house down so you don't have half of it.
I feel like I need a drink after that stuff. Holy crap, that brought me back, man. That was a mistake.
How long
talking
ago
about
was
We
that?
have any here?
Oh, years ago.
Years ago.
Yeah, yeah. When I was living in California. Yeah.
God damn.
Are you happy to be out in New York and California?
Yeah. I think it's just so expensive. I don't like the winters, and like I'm a small town. I grew up in upstate New York.
Oh, I thought you grew up in New York City.
No, I grew up in
You kind of seem like a New York guy to me, like
Yeah.
way you talk and stuff.
Yeah, like 90 miles north. It's like the Catskills, like Woodstock, and
Yeah, yeah.
you know, it's
That's
more
cool,
laid
yeah.
back up
Yeah,
there.
it's chill up there.
Yeah,
I like it up there.
yeah. But it's expensive and cold. I hate the winters, and and I was doing animation in California. That's the reason why I went out there. I was doing the Comicons when I was doing animation, and they were showing my stuff at the San Diego Comicon. So I ended up moving out there to like pursue all that. You know what I mean? Because there wasn't a lot of that happening in upstate New York.
Right,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I just spent so much time out there developing my cartoons and stuff, and then turned the camera on, and now I'm doing this.
And it let you fucking have to be able to leave there,
yeah.
which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of doing like a bigger project now that you got people paying attention, like doing a bit like a movie or?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know what I want to do is I have an idea for a book that it's going to be half illustrated, and it's an idea called How to Be Normal. You know, like a guide for how to not
how to
be
be-
stupid.
how to just be
You know, and
normal.
just like list 50 stupid things people do, and like how to recover from.
What are some? Do
that.
you have
And
any?
give 'em
Or,
tips
not to
help
give it
'em.
away. But what are a couple of the examples that are like the linchpins when you?
Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, like if your pants are hanging down, I mean, like there's belts, you know, and I'll have a listing in your town,
Yeah,
you know, where
yeah.
you can buy
Buy a
those, and
belt.
like,
Like a coffee table
tutorial,
book?
like how to put it on,
Yeah,
you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know what I always kind of used to say about the even when we're talking about the wackiest images, the craziest lifestyles, to me, like, that was never the part that ever rubbed me in any way the wrong way. You know, people are allowed to fucking do whatever they want.
Right.
The crazy part to me was anyone telling you like it's actually normal.
Yeah,
That's
where it crosses.
telling
the
me the
line.
pirate life is not just for pirates anymore.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like no. That's
Normalizing everything.
being you've probably seen these, like the woman will get the face of tattoos, skull on the face, and then they'll make a video kind of mad that they got fired from their kindergarten teaching job.
Yeah, like they're shocked.
Right. And you go, that's
Yeah, it's like no.
you
Well, 'cause they-
obviously couldn't handle being the face tattoo person.
But that's them wanting the world to be something that it's not. And
That's
they're
why-
reacting,
yeah.
and they have to be offended because that they feel that like someone will agree, and that's what happens. They find people that agree and support them, and then that's the beginning of the normalization.
I mean,
of
it's
it.
literally like a dude going
Yeah.
and fighting
They're
guys at
rallying
bars
when
every
they get
night.
mad.
Like if you have a buddy, I was kind of doing this. I was kind of thinking this as like a joke, but the idea that dudes treat their brains like one of your friends who's like a piece of shit, like a coked out friend being like, yo, try to fuck that girl. And you're like, no, we're not. You know what I mean? Kind of like, let's just stay out. You're like, no, we have to. Like, but girls treat their brain like a toxic ex that they defend, where their brains, and they're just like, it's actually pretty normal to think about fucking killing your kids, you know? So like women defend their brain. So the brain's like, we should actually, like, everyone should be doing this. And they go, yeah. Like, and whereas a dude, it's like, your thoughts, you're like, fuck off.
I know.
I mean, there's women who will listen to your story and not be on your side.
Of course, that's why I said, like,
what did you do?
Yeah, like what did you do? You're like you should
Yeah.
have been like you should have been more sympathetic.
Like I had to have done
like, you like you should have
It's
never done
fucking an ankle injury, and this motherfucker
You're
is
like you should have never done the makeup thing. Like
Yeah, but if the roles are reversed, then there's
of course,
nothing the
we were
woman
just
did
talking
wrong,
about it.
right?
There was like, did you see the Google search where it was like, what to do if your husband is yelling at you? If you Google like what to do if your husband's yelling at you, and then it's like call like whatever protective services or like the police, and then it's like what to do if your wife's yelling at you, and it's just like literally like what did you do? Try like essentially
Interesting.
Opposite. Like
Well, because of what you said before, I've literally seen it in New York where there'll be, because a lot of times from apartments, you see other apartments, and there was, apartment right across every day, big fight, like, crazy, like, dude was probably hitting the chick, every last thing going on every day. Cops would come. She doesn't want to press charges.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
She's not leaving. He's not stopping hitting her.
Yeah.
And then whatever else is going on. And they're just like, this just probably goes on for another 10 years.
Yeah.
Or
and there's
forever.
just
Some people live
so
like
it's
that
kind of
for a
wild
while.
that there's just that much of that happening.
Jackie Gleason.
So maybe it's a good law to be like,
Jackie Gleason made a career out of that. Remember the old show, The Honeymooners?
Yeah, of course.
So his character was based on in New York being neighbors to a couple like that, just arguing and all that. Like, so he just emulated that.
Yeah, he said he was gonna fucking punch into the moon.
Yeah, it's based on
to
his
the moon?
He said, that was his, to the like his catchphrase. He was gonna hit her so hard.
Yeah.
The moon.
Yeah.
Dude, it's funny watching old movies.
I love
do
that
have some
shit,
fucking.
That's one of my favorite shows. This
so
abusive
crazy.
spouse show.
I know. It's like literally like I'm gonna bash you so hard you're gonna.
And there's treated like family business back
yeah.
then.
It was a fucking joke.
Yeah,
It's like a funny joke.
but that's the thing. It was like that was on primetime television. That's allowed because people had a sense of humor and knew these were characters and knew that this is a comic relief. But today, it's like somehow that if you had a show like that, like you really hate women.
Oh, for
it's
sure.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
it's just
There's that.
hilarious.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen a lot of people talking about it. I don't know what it's called.
Like a Sopranos
But have you
like
seen that
Yeah.
3-cam show that's on Netflix? It's supposed to be like King of Queens. It's like this like dopey fucking idiot husband or whatever. But then whenever he leaves the scene, it goes to a single camera show, and it's like basically the wife's like, so it goes like from basically like this funny like 3-cam sitcom, and then whenever he walks out and like leaves the scene, then it's like a single camera and she's like being like abused by him, like the vibe completely changes, like two different shows kind of thing.
Never heard of this.
Yeah. I
That's
actually want to see it.
interesting.
It seems kind of
Yeah, I'd
interesting.
check that out.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but that's like the whole thing. Is like she's all like happy-go-lucky when he's in the shot, and he's just like basically Kevin James from King of Queens, and then he leaves, and it's like hell on earth.
It's miserable.
But if he's gone, what's the hell on earth? It's just her like drinking wine and shit.
No, because I guess it's like when like he does all this bad shit to her, but it's just like the comparison between like the 3-cam like chipper sitcom style thing, where like I guess you only see good stuff in the 3-cam, and then the single cam
That's
is like all bad
interesting.
shit. Yeah, but anyways, that's a shit chicks love. My wife was telling me she watched some movie where it was some Anne Hathaway movie where it's like Anne Hathaway's like 40, and then she's at some like music festival with her kid, and then like accidentally she goes to use the restroom or whatever, can't find it, and accidentally like walks into this like this 25-year-old like DJ who's like the #1 DJ in the world and like the biggest celebrity, and then they like fall in love. I'm like, this is like crazy slop for 40-year-old women.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. And she was like, she liked it. She's like, oh, it's so nice. I'm like, yeah.
I like how realistic it is.
I realize like a 40-year-old woman just walks into like fucking Avicii's Diplo's trailer and then falls in love, and you're like, when he's 25, and you're like, literally any other, you'd be like, yo, are you like the catering? No, get the fuck out. What are you doing here? It's like, send the 20-year-olds in. And like 40-year-olds watch this, be like, yeah, see, I'm 40. I could fucking bang a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
Shit. That's the only thing that's stopping me is I just choose not to.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah,
This is
man,
the best.
sick, dude.
This was a blast.
This is the first time us meeting in person, right?
No, we hung.
No, we met on,
I met you guys at Tim.
We met at Tim. Yeah.
yeah.
We hung out at Tim.
COVID fest.
Yeah.
But I've known you on the internet for fucking ever now.
Yeah, I think we played the drums or something at his house.
Yeah.
I can't remember. We were drinking a little much.
You were telling us you were on the no-fly list.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's right
a whole
after that
nother
happened.
story.
Oh, right.
Yeah. They put me on a
From the mask.
no-fly
I'm on the
list.
new no lift list.
Really? No. Oh, from Lyft.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
not
banned
allowed.
from Lyft.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Mask.
Did you talk about this? Oh, for the mask.
Mask stuff, yeah.
But dude, I was wearing a mask. I was wearing a cloth, one of those
Like the gator,
wraps.
which is I always wore that, and I never had a problem.
Dude, where I was living, there was no mandates. Okay, and so when I got on the plane, this was I didn't know. So I got on the plane, and not to go in the whole story again, is like I had a gator wrap on. So obviously, when I check in, I go to the booth with it on, and fine. I go through TSA, fine. 20 minutes into the flight, all of a sudden it's not fine. But I didn't know it was not fine.
Yeah, and they let you all the way on.
I know. And she didn't even tell me. She just came by and gave me a mask. And I thought she was just giving it to me. Because I was aware I was wearing a different one.
Yeah.
But she didn't say anything. But that was her way to say, but she didn't say. So I just put it in the front pocket. And that was like me, I guess, ignoring her. And then a whole team, like the Gestapo, just showed up next to my row. Yeah, well, actually, before that happened, an overweight flight attendant came over. I could feel the plane rocking. You know what I mean? But so when she came up, she's like, Mr. Borelli, you have to wear your mask. Or I'm like, I am wearing a mask. She's like, that's not the approved mask, and you have to come. Like, she's already having a conversation with herself. I'm like, is this how you talk to people?
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, this is the protocol. If someone doesn't, you just berate them and yell and scream. That's what they tell you in the meeting. And she didn't like that, and she stormed away. Then the Gestapo comes, a whole thing like, sir, you must now put the mask on or you're going to be reported to the whole thing. And I'm like, I'm just trying to ask him, like, what is the difference between this and that? And
dude, the best is the Gators came out and they go, it's because I only wore a Gator for all of it. And then at one point they came out with some research thing and they're like, yeah, the Gator's actually worse than not wearing a mask at all. Like, somehow there was something where it was like, they were like, it gets stuck in the Gator. I was like, well, I'm wearing the Gator.
So I didn't wear them. But I mean, for the flight, I was like, well, I'm not going to get on the flight. And I was doing a show and I'm like, all right, whatever. So I wasn't like anti.
So you just can't take that airline now?
No, I can now.
Okay.
But I remember I didn't even know I was banned from it until I had booked another flight to go, and I almost missed the flight because they're like, sorry, sir, you're on the no-fly list.
Yeah.
At least it's only for one airline at the time.
And they said they emailed me, and I found at the time I couldn't find it, and I did end up they actually did email me.
Crazy.
But I'm arguing with them. I'm like, I don't have it. Like, you searched my email. Like, I don't have it.
That was such a fucking ridiculous.
It was
time.
just ridiculous.
Like when you'd be on a plane and then you just like be like, can I get a couple pretzels just so you could just like, and you're just like slowly eating.
But dude,
pretzels.
over the
I was talking to Dave Smith about this actually last night because he had like a good point where he goes, you know, sometimes you'll see people talking about, you know, like a war or whatever, and it's like, you just remember like who failed the COVID test, and it was like that they lost their brains in COVID, and it was like there's a lot of people that you go, if you look during that time, go look back at what they were saying, what they go, you know, like maybe a Pierce Morgan or something like that, and you're just like, when push comes to shove, you're mental.
Oh yeah. Remember the Toronto Star had like some article come out where it was like, we should just let all these people die, like all the unvaccinated.
There was a lot of that. There was a lot of that.
Like they were like some crazy shit where you're like, man, that's like indefensible.
Then they got all the vaccines, and then they got the COVID. Like when they said that they wasn't, and then there was no like press conference like apologizing.
I mean,
wanting everyone to die.
We waiting for that for a while.
I mean, it's like they just pretend they didn't say that and go away on their day.
Like, I mean, they never had like a crazy COVID commission like they had for like, you know, 9/11 or JFK.
Yeah,
like they still like don't know where it came from.
There's no accountability.
They were like, we have an idea.
I saw a video of, I think it was Al Gore, and he was basically doing like some sort of press conference. Maybe he was a speaker at some event, and he was basically like trying not to say the words, but he was like, the biggest problem we have right now is that we can't control the narrative. And he was saying that like, because of social media, you know, people will be able to believe fake things where we used to be able to say when those are fake. And he was like, trying not to be like, we can't tell people what to think anymore. You know, and he's using like super diplomatic language to be like, we're not going to be allowed to have democracy unless we can, you know, tell people what that means. And it was just so funny, like watching him dance around, but like still saying everything, be like, look, we'd like people to like here's let's cut the shit
listen
here.
to us.
Yeah, it's just fucking
Do
wild.
what we say.
It's so crazy. I remember being on that plane too, where on the loudspeaker too, before they came up to me, the action, people don't believe me about this, but this fucking happened. The pilot got on the speaker and was like, we have a gentleman who's not willing to conform to the mask policies. We're going to divert the we're going to divert the plane to Memphis. Yes,
they diverted
no,
it.
they said we're going to.
Did they?
No, that's when they came.
I mean, that would have turned you into the villain, though. The plane would have turned on you if they diverted.
But here's the thing. I was ready for that when they said that, because they knew everyone heard the discussion, because I was pretty loud.
And then what happened after they said divert?
Nobody was like, oh, like nobody turned my, because I think
they were on your side of it,
because they seen how they were treating me. They were treating me like a fucking dog. Like the lady was yelling at me. Like I was so reasonable. I was so. I'm always to myself. Like
you don't seem like a crazy guy.
No. Yeah,
Borelli does seem like a fucking mob name, though.
Yeah, I am Italian. But
people were on your side, sort of. So when they said that, they were like, "Oh, fuck off."
They did. They were just kind of like, when I got off the airport, the one guy was like, "You were absolutely right," like you know, and I'm like, where were you? Like you could have said something. Like it was that classic where everyone agrees, but they say nothing, and you just allow them.
I wasn't trying to go to the gulag.
Yeah,
but it's funny when
they try and get banned from fucking United Airlines.
when the announcement came over, the overweight flight attendant came over to me. She's like, would you like them to turn the plane around, sir? And I go, yeah, well, maybe I'll take a trip to Graceland. And I haven't been to Graceland. You know, a couple of people started to chuckle. I was like so sarcastic with her because I didn't give a fuck at that point. But then that's when the whole crew came over, and I was like, I just want to know what the difference. How did I get on the plane? Nobody addresses. Everyone's mad at me for asking questions, and you could tell like I kind of broke the spell because they're just told that, because I'm being so reasonable, asking reasonable questions. And he's like, look, you just have to put, like, then I broke him down. He's like, you just have to put it on. Like,
and then you're like, okay, fine.
Yeah, but they still banned me though. That's what was fucked up about it, because you're supposed to meet somebody. They're like, someone will meet you at the other airport, like to write you up or nothing. Nobody met me or anything. That's why I didn't know I was banned from it. You know, but anyway, like, what a time, man.
What a time.
What a time.
That was a real time that separated the men from the boys, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out the YouTube channel, Joey B Toonz, Instagram, killing it, TikTok.
I got a podcast, Joey B versus the World. Yeah, what else?
Podcast crushes it.
Yeah.
You're probably one of the only people that's a big YouTube channel that you start doing a podcast and does like almost the same views on like the fucking long form.
Yeah, I know.
Sick. I've done the podcast. That episode.
Yeah, that's right.
There.
Yeah, we had a good time.
I did the podcast.
Yeah,
You had a cool guest too. Kat Von D was on there.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I know her. She's cool.
That's sick.
All right. And tonight, we're ripping it tonight.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm free, baby.
This is the final night tonight, too. Well, Danny's the party boys been going 3 nights. Party boys been going till 5 every night.
5 a.m. every night.
How do you do it, man?
I don't know.
All that weight you lost, man.
That's the thing. The glow up also.
Yeah,
it's all the oxygen they pump into the
No, you look
casino.
good, man. You look good.
All right. Okay, peace.